And we
One
are
sec.
live.
And let me connect my
Hello,
Wi-Fi here.
hello. This is Kev, and this is Black Men Being Brutally Honest. And I am one of the along with Donnie Casanova of You Ain't Shit for Watching, and report with Roger Stevens. And in our quest to find interesting topics to put on this YouTube platform, I was just sitting up here thinking to myself, just earlier today, it's like, in looking at some of the YouTube videos, these two words have started to come up quite frequently. It's like all are on a, I don't know, I guess they're on a mailing list or something. And it's like we just gonna talk about like this one particular topic right here. I think they do it in Facebook too. Like it's just like everybody just started talking about the same fucking thing, and it's just nothing that I can explain. But there's always these three subjects that are always so pertinent to to the black community for some reason. And I mean, it I guess they're hot topics, but they're tired topics too. I mean, it's like just the whole pro-blackness and people who constantly move the goalposts on what it means to be black. And we're going to be going there tonight because guess what? We are habitual line steppers, and that's exactly what we do. In the whole nice guy narrative, um, you know, I don't know if it's more nice guys saying, "Hey, I'm a nice guy. This is why women won't date me. They love bad boys. Blah blah blah. They love thugs." I don't know if it's more of that or people actually complaining about these nice guys and and them not being able to be not able to uh, grab that brass ring of vaginal vaginal goodness. I don't know any other way to put it at this present time. But I have a theory on that myself, and it might make sense to some, it might not make sense to others. So, well, with me now is the two other habitual line steppers. Go ahead, introduce yourself, sir.
Hello, folks. This is Roger Stevens. I'm of the Roger Report. You should check out my channel, like and subscribe because if you're black and you go to my channel, you're gonna like it. If you don't like it, check your blackness. But that's it on now.
Okay, and Donnie.
What's going on, people? So the name is Donnie. The show you ain't shit for watching. Because at several points during my show, you're gonna say, you know what? He ain't shit. Well, you ain't shit for watching. I am a habitual line stepper. It is a habitual line stepper production. We often do shows on multiple topics. Sometimes we get carried away, but it's all in good fun. In any event, I want to thank you for coming. Let me come on your show, Kev, and let's get to the topic at hand.
Okay. All right. And you know what we do at the beginning of all of these? Well, a few of them recently. Just sit for a second and we finna get this topic started. So here we
Oh, you's a corn-fed fool with a lot of muscle mass, but it's time for bullhorn to get up in that ass. Wah! Hey, motherfucker. Oh,
uh,
you's a corn.
all right. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Okay. Now think about this, Roger, for a second. And it's like the title, the topic for this discussion. Nice guys, dick policing, which is two funny terms put together, by the way. And the
Absolutely.
and the pro and the pro black that I feel like that all of these be correlating with each other and is all bad because I mean you got nice guys and you got pro blackness that can be positive things, but when you throw dick policing in there, it takes this negative spin and it goes in this little social circle that is never ending. So tell me what you think of that.
Well, I mean, I think at the end of the day, I have no issue with people being pro-black, but a lot of people have pro-blackness into who a black man can date, and that's really what it's about for them. They're basically women, and then a lot of dudes who are in a compromised position, they will support the women on that as well because they want to impress women. Because in other societies, women care more about what men can produce versus versus a bunch of nonsense that a lot of black women concentrate on. So, and when you have to produce to get credibility as a man, a lot of men that have issues producing or simply don't want to produce, they don't like their narrative. So they like it to make it about something intangible because women usually argue in things that are very intangible. Because when you argue about intangible stuff all the time, there's no way to actually measure are you better than the next man or not. So people stay in intangibilities for lack of production. And when it comes to women, without on the flip side for women, it's about a beauty standard. And because black women don't want to deal with their beauty standard because they look at their beauty standard as white women, a lot of them are already kind of put off and they feel they're gonna lose regardless. So it's easier to deal with a man who doesn't produce because he'll praise you all day for being a woman because he has nothing tangible to offer the woman. So that's really what it comes down to. It's really convenience. So if you have a man that is a producer, the issue with him becomes he can get women that are black and he can get women that are non-black because the non-black women still look for production. And if you produce enough, no matter how much white folks hate you, and I'm saying white folks because that's the main folks that black women care about, even though the same thing goes with the other groups of people too. But when you're a producer, you can get women from any group. You can get them white, you can get them Asian, you can get them, Mexican, whatever. You can get them however you want to look at it. You can get them as long as you're a producer. So as black men continue to become better producers, that's a threat to black women that like men to just simply look at them and don't want to compete against other races of women. It's a legitimate threat at the end of the day for them because they don't want to adhere to what black men want. It's stupid, but it's still a legitimate threat to them.
Mm.
But when you're lazy, a lot of stuff becomes a threat to you.
Okay, all right. And that's your explanation of how these three things correlate with each other. What do you have to say, Donnie?
Um, really, so dick policing, in my opinion, is women saying women coming from the position of an abuser. An abuser is going to tell you you can't do better than me. Nobody else is going to treat you like me. Sorry.
Excuse me for laughing.
And the
I'm only
moment
laughing because it's true. Go ahead.
and the moment you go out and you go get somebody else, they start telling you, well, they not going, they only looking to set you up. No one just motherfucking gave you some black eyes. I always reference this Ayanna Van Zant where these several black men went and said, you know what, they tired of dating black women, and they gave their reasons as to why they were tired of dating black women in America. And Ayanna basically told them, oh well, suck it the fuck up. You owe us a debt, and the debt must be paid.
That's basically what she said. Yep.
And you know what though, and I've always said it, and I've always said it. No one owes you any. This is how I see like I got treated because this is how I learned that nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you a relationship. Nobody owes you a marriage. That's something you got to go out and get, and you have to do whatever you can to get that positive result. Like I said in the past, when I wasn't pleased with the way that my approach was, I just changed. I just simply changed my approach. I changed my look, and then I got better responses. No, I did not complain or try to shame anyone into and I think this is a lot of where this little nice guy narrative, they're trying to tell you that because of your experience that this is actually a shaming tool for women to start liking guys who are I would say less thuggish, less a little bit more quiet. The quote unquote nerd game. See, here's the thing. I'm gonna speak from a perspective of one of these quote unquote nice guys, and I'm gonna tell you a little story of my youth that really confirmed it for me because I would always tell somebody that I never ever called myself a nice guy. But for some reason, there's a lot of people out there saying that there's a lot of people calling themselves nice guys, and I don't see these people, but they could be out there. But anyway, I remember getting in trouble in junior high, and I guess a group of girls saw me and said, "Kevin, what you doing out here? You were, yeah, kind of, but you're the nice guy. You're the good guy, you know." And little did I know that that narrative would kind of doom me a little bit. I mean, that when that and then I would go through lessons and like this is why I guess this is why I would get treated more harshly. Kids who were be in more hood type settings. I was the kid that my parents spoke correct around, so I picked up on that too. My parents spoke in complete sentences, and they made sure that you could understand everything that they were saying, and they were very direct with me, and that rubbed off on me quite a bit. So when I took uh, people who were more, and I would say this because these words are often thrown at me, ebonically inclined, would be taken aback,
Demonically inclined.
but would be taken aback by hearing me speak. First thing come out their mouth, you talk.
You talk
It, I,
white, yeah.
yes, you talk white, all this other stuff. And I'll be getting to a little point in a second. Um, you talk white, you talk like a white boy. You too nice. You got to be a little you got to be a little rough, rugged. I started hearing all of that when I was like 12, 13, 14. Well, not so much 12. I was still in private school at the time. I was mostly made fun of for not having. I was wearing off-brand sneakers. It's different kids, different setting, stuff like that. So I had a little bit exposure to everything growing up, as far as different wide ranges of personalities. But when it always came to like the hood, and I'm not saying not all, because people always act like hit dogs when you. So I always got to fucking say not all, which is not necessary because ultimately not all doesn't work. But that's just my opinion. But it seemed like with these hood type people, they wanted me to gravitate more toward a lifestyle that was more rebellious, more like kind of like skip school. I got my dad's bottle of gin. Let's sip on it a little bit, see how it makes us feel. Go hang out in the street, and here, uh, have sex. Yes, at those times, kids were kind of intercourse with in those
Like I
times,
said,
and
in those times, it's still
it,
going on, Kev.
yeah, it still happens. It still happens, and it's pretty much like I don't know. Before I know it was happening when I was in school, but I was the kind of kid that didn't do any of that. I didn't go around like you know, in junior high, smell my finger, be impressed by this smell on my finger right here. I didn't do that kind of thing, but it was like for that I was more shunned by a lot of the black kids when I entered like when I finally entered public school. When I was in private school, it was predominantly black, so we didn't have a choice but to be around each other. But when I went to public school, I found myself, I guess, and it was probably by accident. The kids that were more not all them cool and some of the white kids, some of the white kids decided, hey, let's be friends and all that other stuff. And I still had my distrust. It wasn't like I was going to their house or going to their parties or anything. It was just, they had comic books. and, and it was like, but it was like this. It was like this, getting picked on by the local kids calling themselves gang members and being rejected like that at a still kind of impressionable age. You what it's like for these other quote unquote so called nice guys. It it's and oh, go ahead. Speak.
Well, I was just gonna say, first of all, I think we gotta look at the term "nice guys" because
Yeah.
when you listen when you look at black women say nice guys and they talk about why they don't date them. Now, I don't mind anybody saying I'm a nice guy because
I don't care
overall,
either.
I am a nice guy.
That
The
doesn't
only
mean
thing different about me is I treat women like women. I treat hoes like hoes. Does that mean I'm not nice? No, I think
well, I
I'm
guess
pretty nice.
I guess I don't know. I
So,
guess you gotta be the kind of guy. Oh, go ahead, Dan.
uh, so here's what I always hear this phrase getting tossed around, and when they say "nice guy," they put this smiley face on this dude, and he's the dude who can do no wrong, and he's a prince, and he's coming to save you, and all this shit. No, the difference between a nice guy and I guess a bad boy is one is compromised, right? So one comes
That's
at you
basically what I
more
was
in a
gonna say.
respectful time, or term. So he comes to you and he says, "Hey, how you doing? Listen, I'm gonna get to know you. Let's go out and and have a date and X, Y, Z." Whereas the bad boy is like, "Hey, bitch, what's popping? Listen, you selling some, but you listen, you fucking or no? Come over here." And these women have a thing for um, getting into these situations because it's exhilarating. You feel like, oh, I'm doing something wrong. Ooh, what if I get caught? It's exhilarating. Problem is they get caught, and then they
But
become the victim.
well, that's what wasn't where I was gonna go with it. But I mean, I can't say it's all that far off. When I was gonna say when I hear women speak about nice guys, women have always said, well, they don't like the nice guy because I want someone who's confident. So what that tells me is they're hiding the fact that they don't like productive men behind saying he's not confident. Confidence has nothing to do whether you're nice or not. You know what I'm saying? There's men that are confident and there's men that are not. There's men that are good that are confident. There's men that are nice that are confident. There's men that are hoodlums that are not confident. There's men that are hoodlums that are confident. So really, if you pay attention to how black women use it, they're basically hiding behind the fact that they just want to deal with somebody who's in a more compromised position or someone who's not being productive, and they're just using the word nice to have that where they're saying the nice guy isn't confident, meaning he's not going to come up to them and talk to them, which is not true. At the end of the day, if you look good, men try to holler at you. You just simply
So,
say yes to the men that you like, and that's
so
just all there is to it.
when I hear that word and you say confident, automatically what goes in my head is I think cats, right? So if anybody's ever dealt with a cat versus a dog, when you come in the house, a dog is jumping up, "Hey, master, hey, 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 I'm happy to see you. Oh, hey, hi." And he's paying you attention, and he wants to be with you, and he's chasing after you and running around. When you come in the house and you have a cat, what does a cat do? Oh, bitch, you
You ain't
hear
got a
me?
cat, so yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but again, oh, you bet you hear. All right, well, fill up the bowl. I'll be back in a little bit. I might piss in the house somewhere, and you gonna have to clean it up. But bitch, you better feed me. That's the mentality of a cat. So when I hear confidence, and they're like, "Oh, he's confident," all I hear, just from seeing it, is it's a nigga who really don't need you and don't give a fuck about you, but you're chasing after him to change his mind and make him want you, and everything else. That's what I hear about confidence. Like, yeah, you can stay, but I can replace you in 10 seconds. Where I feel is more earnest guy, because I've been in the position. I've been in a position to where I've tried to be more earnest, and after I said fuck it, my rate of I my rate went up. Basically, we'll go with that. My numbers went
I
up.
feel what you're saying. Well, I'm gonna say this: when it comes to the quote unquote nice guy, at the end of the day, it's just about what women want. If a woman says something about a dude being nice or too nice, whatever, that's just basically saying I'm a hoe. I don't really want to be in a relationship where it's just me and you. You know what I'm saying? I know I want to get down and do reckless stuff, so I have to be with a man that can justify my reckless behavior. And that's
you
all
know,
it is too.
you
Women
know
say
what?
something about nice, but they hoes.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this though. I will say this. This pre. I did have a hoe tell me one time that, oh, this feels too much like a relationship. We need to pull back. We need to pull back. You know, I was like, well, okay, but it's. I mean, what did I that sex? I mean, that's the crazy. I guess that's a crazy ideal in this modern day and age that sex, justifies a relationship. That sex is just sex,
Let
but
me tell you the depth.
Well, see, my thing is I like to look at who's saying it, because when it comes to the sisters, when they talk about the nice guys or whatever, and I understand they don't want the nice guys. I ain't even tripping if they say they don't want the nice guys. But at the
uh,
end of the day, who is saying this? You're basically they're hoes, because you have, you know what I'm saying. You got women who want to be in a relationship with a man who's obviously not going to be faithful to him. You know what I'm saying? So who sleeps with somebody else's man? Hoes do. That's what hoes do. That's, you know what I'm saying. You can't really
okay,
expect the
okay,
hoe not to.
okay, okay.
What's that?
I gotta break in for a second. Now,
Okay, go ahead.
when they hear the term dick policing, now
Mm-hmm.
the women are gonna come up with some, and let's go ahead and just definition is they're gonna try to say, what about pussy policing? Now we're sitting up here talking about, hoes, wanting compromised men. Would you qualify that as pussy policing?
No, I wouldn't. I
In the
wouldn't
term
qualify
and
that.
in the sense that they are trying to put it.
Hey,
Not at
my
all.
bad. My
Not at
bad. I
all.
got cut out.
Because yeah, well, I wouldn't qualify as pussy policing, because see, I'm one of the dudes that I don't care who you sleep with, from a personal level. If I'm not included, it ain't that really much for me to say about it. But the thing is, the problem with guys like me is when you do sleep with a man who you couldn't get the result you wanted from, I'm not gonna care that you got burned. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So that's really what the issue is. If you mess with a dude, he have a baby on you and then he disappear. I don't really care that he disappeared, because my thing is you're an adult. You chose to have a baby by the dude you wanted to have a baby by. Or if he cheats on you in a relationship and you stay in that relationship, you know what I'm saying? I just look at you as a hoe, because hoes sleep with other women's men, and hoes share men. That's just what hoes do. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is I'm not tripping on who you with. You know what I'm saying? I expect hoes to act like hoes at the end of the day.
Well, well. Okay, now that we're talking about hoes and we're talking about how both genders are perceived, who does it hurt being more of a hoe, a man or a woman?
A man can't
The
be a
woman.
hoe. That's a female thing,
So why do you think that?
because women value men that can sleep with a bunch of other women. Men don't
Mm.
value women that can sleep with a bunch of other men.
Oh, okay.
Only a woman can be a hoe. And
I,
I
I
understand we're in a time where women try to push terms on men, but women are hoes. They've always been hoes, and they gonna stay hoes. Men ain't gonna never be hoes.
Hmm. Okay. So Donnie, you
so
had
yes. So in that aspect, when a yeah, what he said is when a man is out here and he's got a whole big ass body count, nobody's really holding that man. They like, he fuck Brenda, but they still fuck with him. When a woman's out here and he every nigga didn't hit, she's less of a value to you as a wife.
and you know what though? And it's like just how valid do y'all think the 80-20 rule is? Because I'm about to make a point about that.
I mean, honestly, if you put humans in the same situation, 80% of those humans will pretty much do the same thing.
Oh, okay. But you know about the 80-20 rule, like 80% of the women only mess with 20% of the guys. How valid do you think that is?
That's not valid at all.
Uh,
What I believe in the 80-20 rule, where eight 80% of the women will chase 20% of the guys, but at the end of the day, they messing with everybody.
oh, okay. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, do you think that guys a lot of snatched, so to speak, that the girls go and validate these guys to their girlfriends, and then they want to get with them too? Do you think that could be a possibility?
Oh,
If
absolutely, absolutely.
Absolutely.
outsider or newcomer finds it difficult, perhaps.
Nah. I mean, the only thing that really matters is how to get the woman interested in you in the first place. Because once you done got a woman interested in you, and you do something with her, once you knock the box out, and she go tell somebody else, oh man, it's coming, bro. It's coming. All you gotta do is sit there and wait. Because the other
That's
women are coming. That's the best
okay.
My bad.
advertisement a man can get.
The reception out here is trash, so I keep dropping in and out.
Say what?
I said the
You
reception out here is terrible.
yeah. We can hear you now.
Yeah, basically the reception's bad, so that's why I keep dropping in and out. So my bad.
Well, no problem, man. No problem. It happens. Yeah, but just once again reminding our viewers being brought to you by the habitual line steppers. When I say habitual report, you ain't shit for watching in this channel right here, Black Men Being Brutally Honest. The three of us enjoy this kind of thing and hope to continue to bring you great material. So, okay, now, this guy right here. Now, would you say that he was a prime example? The strife of the dick police.
Oh, the dick police came after him strong, good and strong.
What the
Good
hell was
and
I drugged into? What is this? What? Donnie, I'm gonna get
oh,
you.
I didn't do
drugs.
nothing.
She say it's
Okay.
all
Hello.
voluntary here.
I was chilling, watching. I'm trying to watch this movie on the Central Park 5, and I got a phone call. Hi,
It
guys.
wasn't me.
It said Donnie was calling. I was like, oh, okay,
Mm-mm.
let's see.
Nope, that was the Lord calling you.
It was a trap. What are
Praise
y'all
the Lord.
showing?
This
I'm listening.
is if you see the meme on the screen, uh, nice guys, dick policing, and the pro-blackness of it all. Basically, there's this narrative floating around on YouTube. Like it's just like Facebook. It just seems to be the top three, the top three topics on social media. It's never like, and a lot of people talk about building and rebuilding and all that stuff. And I was like, y'all come up with blueprints, y'all let me know, and I'll be there with a hammer and a nail. But it's like the whole nice guy narrative. Like it's not what you actually think that it is. Like as far as what we're discussing, because the impression that something like that is, oh my God, they're about to sit up here and make all these excuses for why women do this or women do that, blah blah blah, yakety schmackety. And the angle I'm trying to come at from is like this. It's like not really any excuses. It's like whether you're a nice guy or not. It ain't like you can't do a lot of the things that these other so-called archetypes can do. But coming from big police, and I looked in YouTube a few times and up in a few of the titles. So it's like, and I'm sitting up there like, are all these people on a mailing list? It's like, oh, we're gonna discuss dick policing today, well, this week for the next few days. And I
But let me
mean,
say this though.
it's
Let
going.
me say this though. Because I think, you know what I'm saying, dick policing, I understand where it comes from because it's black women saying black men must choose them from a pro-black aspect. And the reason that so much dick policing has to happen is because from a general level, they're not actually pro-black. See, when you start talking about being pro-black, you got to start dealing with group economics. And you got to at least make an attempt to spend some of your money on black-owned businesses. And when it really comes down to it, you got to spend money on businesses owned by black men. Because if you believe in being pro-black and you believe in community and you believe that men are supposed to do X, Y, and Z for the community, that means you believe they have to be able to fund those activities. So at the end of the day, you're not truly trying to participate in being pro-black. So therefore, you have dick policing. See, if people are already more involved in group economics, you wouldn't have to dick police because the black woman's womb would have value. Right
So,
now it doesn't have
what are
that.
you saying? So what are you saying? It's like this dick policing is a necessity.
Yeah, as long as you don't take group economics seriously, has to be a necessity for black women because I'm gonna say it in a term that most people can understand. But if you think about white supremacy, you know what I'm saying? If you involved in white supremacy, you know you got to have a white baby to keep white supremacy going. You see what I'm saying? But that's just an extreme version of people taking pride in their race. You know, it's just an extreme version. But everybody understands it. When you say white supremacy, it catches people's ears. But you got to have a white baby at the
Exactly.
end of the day. So
Exactly.
if you were truly
Or
pro-black,
mixed.
well, yeah, if you were truly pro-black, you know what I'm saying? Then you would understand I'm trying to help my community shine. I'm trying to help my community produce. Therefore, I'm going to invest what I can into businesses owned by black men.
Oh, I
And
got a
where, you
question.
know what I'm saying? You'll help some black women too. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to make my community better, which means I have to financially make that happen. But when you don't have people participating in the group economics part, then it does. What if I have a baby that's not black? What's the difference in having a black baby? Because we're not pushing anything. There's nothing going from one generation to the next. So who cares what color baby I have?
Exactly. Because you got people that saying, "Oh, I want to go against my race. I want to date. I date all types of women," and I'll be like, "Well, that's you. I don't even say nothing anymore." Because I have gotten into an argument with one of my staff, and that was just not pretty. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
So, well, I'm just saying, without the financial aspect of it all, a black woman's womb has no more value than a white woman's womb to a black man. So black women don't want to be in that position where they have to continue to compete with the white women. And I'm just saying white because that's the one they care about the most. But they're not willing to do the group economics part so we would have value for their womb. If we do group economics and we're all as men trying to build businesses and build something that we can leave to our children, well, in order to keep our thing going, we got to look to have a black baby.
I
But
mean,
without the
but
economic part, you don't need the black baby.
Well, you know what though? You know what though? What you know what though? Let me make this little side point real quick. If black men don't get the money from as businesses and start the beginning of generational wealth, where are we going to get the money from? I mean,
Well,
that means that.
we have enough money floating through the black community to get a lot of stuff going. The money there, if you, with all the stuff that people crap about what black people spend, the money there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah. If black people didn't spend what they say, if black people didn't spend for like 48 hours, they would crush. Like, I gotta get something tangible to back that up. That's something I heard. Like it. When you listen to all this like Black First, blacks going on strike, boycott Black Friday, all that other stuff. You always hear little stuff like that, but it's like when I say something, I want to make sure that it's backed by actual facts. So I just want to see if I can find something tangible before I back that statement up.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'm not even speaking in the terms of boycotting something to get somebody to do something. I'm talking
yeah,
about in terms of a lifestyle. As a lifestyle, Chinese people shop with Chinese. That's why you have a Chinatown in just about any major city, as far as I
mhm.
know. When you know what I'm saying, Koreans they spend with Koreans. That's why you have Koreans sticking together the way they do. Mexicans spend with Mexicans. Whatever it is, however you classify the group, those people spend money with each other. It's not like they don't ever spend money outside their community, but they do actually make an effort to spend money in their community. Therefore, their
And see,
child continuing to be what they are has value. Because that's not really done in the black community, there is no value in having a black
exactly,
baby. You know,
exactly.
you can't
except
fix anything until a black baby becomes a valuable thing.
Yeah, we set up for
variable.
integrationism, so it meant that we could be on par with white people. And white people was just like, yeah, sure, bring your niggas asses on over here and spend your nigga money with us.
You know what though? I really
Exactly.
hated that narrative. I really hated that narrative because I felt like that it's like It's like for all the greatness they think they have, it seems like they come get everything from us. Like
Exactly.
They do.
they come get our
Exactly.
money, they come get our athleticism, they they get our trends, our
They
styles. It's
figure a
like they
way
come
to
get
profit.
oh
Our hair,
But
dreadlocks. You know what I'm
but you
saying?
know what though? Before
That's
we go too far off track, my whole point though is because you don't have the economic piece going along with being pro-black, you don't have value in having a black baby. Therefore, women dick police. Think
to
about
keep the what to keep the money shots within the black community.
no, no.
They
I'm
ask the
saying
dick police.
if men were were getting the respect that they want from a general standpoint, you know what I'm saying? As far as I
You
do
know what
this,
though? I
women
think,
treat me like this, or
but
the financial structure is being done, because that's where it all comes down to. We don't have the base financial structure as far as the
but
community goes. When you
but
build, you want to leave something to your children.
yeah, absolutely. But the whole dick policing thing, I'm gonna go ahead and just say this, just to play kind of devil's advocate. We can't just put that on the women. There's a bunch of hotepetry, a bunch of black men who are super aggressive online about, what another man is doing with his dick. It's like you're going around holding a man's dick for him, making sure it goes inside the right or the vagina that you want to do. So I mean, it's especially prevalent within our and it's
Well,
like they disguise it as like the basically, you got to do what you can to preserve. But it's like this. It goes back to what I was saying about, what incentive have you given to keep it all? Are you steadily pushing guys like this away, or
what
because of their regular, normal, everyday behavior? Or are you actually saying, hey, you know what, you my brother, you my sister, yeah, let's pound it, let's pound each other, give each other hugs, and let's make this thing work. Let's spend our money at black owned stores. Let's do all of this great shit.
Well, I'm
I
not
don't
pushing it just on women. My point is it's necessary because the economic part is not being done.
well, the money has to come from money has to come from the men too. It's just
No, no, I'm saying
out there.
blacks in general need to start being pro-black from a financial standpoint. If that were going on, you wouldn't have people trying to
Because we
dick
got
police because a
because you know
black
what
baby would have value.
because you know what everybody like I put it like Jay-Z right now. Jay-Z just became the first billionaire in hip hop, and everybody's happy for him. But some people are going to come at it from the angle of how does him being a billionaire really help the black community? So when is it that it's like already they're talking about this kind of thing. So we did when the pro-blackness kick. So we know that to basically bailing guys out of jail secretly, activists and all this other stuff. But it's like this: does becoming a billionaire help the black community, or is just or it doesn't? And would y'all like to give me an answer on that? Why or why not? Why do you feel like it helps the black community, and why you don't think it helps the black community? Whatever answers you have.
It
I
does.
have I have an answer. Um, it doesn't because it's not. Let me say let me say it like this. These are rappers. These are entertainers. So how is it helping us?
I mean, they're
Uh,
proud of him. Is another symbol. Basically, everybody's billionaire status. Blah blah blah. Just like Michael. Ooh, and Michael Jordan's another one. But we'll discuss Michael Jordan in a second. I'm sure Roger's passionate about that one. But I need Roger for that particular one too, because I'm gonna make a tremendous point about that one as well.
It's all good.
That you're saying that it doesn't help Raphael, right?
no. It doesn't help. Not at all. Not people from urban in the urban neighborhoods. Not people that's poor.
Well, I'm gonna say that it does help because at the end of the day, Jay Z employs black people. So the more people that can employ black people, the more help that it does at the end of the day. Now,
Okay.
that don't mean he is. I'm not saying his staff is 100% black, but he is a person that's employing black people. And if black people want to start working for more black people instead of working for everybody else, then we got to have more black people that can afford to hire black people.
Tremendous point. Now, now, Roger. Go
How?
ahead.
Mm, no, I'm not gonna say that. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Um, it's just what he said about Jay Z employing black people. I wonder what's the what is it statistics of like races that he employs. I'm kind of curious about that. And then also what is like the like their household income, like are is he employing like the lower end of people that really needs the job, or is he employing other people that, you know, upper upper class black people that are already wealthy?
Exactly.
Because
Does it
if
make a
he's
difference?
only, yes, because
Yes.
yes.
I'll say this. I'll say this. Years ago, when he was launching his title service, they looked at his employment base, and it was not really not a base. But I don't know. But just let me say this: I don't know if he had any direct control of that hiring process, as far as trying to get because title was just getting off the ground, and in something like that, that's dealing with technology and computers. So you need the best and the brightest to make sure that your service launches right, or you're gonna crash and you make a fool of yourself. So, but I was just making that point right there because it was the articles back in like 2013, 2014 that was, talking about Jay Z and how he did not employ any blacks in his title service. So that's just one. That was just one little thing. Now, as far as what he's doing over here in the and I don't even think title is even based in the U.S. As a matter of fact. But
It's not.
But I missed what was said.
as far
But
as far as what he's done over here, it did might be a different story. But we
yeah, but I get it. Having black people is cool or whatever, but what type of black people? Because it's black people that are actually really educated and intelligent and could work these jobs, but they don't have the push to get up in that type of environment.
or
Like,
or the connections. There's
exactly.
a lot,
So,
a lot depends on who
Exactly.
you know.
yep. So, I
Exactly.
mean, does it really matter if he's already hiring people that are already in the business and already wealthy and they're good? Does that really matter?
Like
It
what he
does
hired
Exactly,
matter.
quality.
It
Ryan.
matters a lot. It matters a lot. And I'm gonna tell you how it does matter. Because everything trickles down. And when black people have money, they can afford to hire people,
Mm-hmm.
even beyond the people that's making the mega money, but beyond the six figures and above people, they hire other black people for stuff too. So at the end of the day, you have more people who can get hired to do certain things. It may not be the thing you want at the time, it may not be the glorious thing, but as long as black people can continue to grow in
So,
business, and as long as black people can continue to hire other black people, again, you finally get the situation where black people can actually start working for other black people. So it's like saying if he
it
only
it does
hired
matter
minimum wage
because what.
employees,
It,
well, I'm saying even if you were a
Okay,
minimum
I get
wage
what you're saying,
employee, would
Roger.
you want to be minimum wage for black or white?
But I get what you're saying. So you're saying like, okay, yeah, it does matter because he's already hiring black people. So how do we know that this same system is going on with the next group? Like, what if those black people are like, Psh, fuck them niggas, I don't want to help them. Like, or
ex-
I'm gonna stay up here.
exactly.
I'm gonna only work with black people in this medium of wealth or whatever. I can't think straight. But you get what I'm saying. Like, what if they're only working with black people of a certain level?
No,
Does
I
that matter?
totally get what you're saying. I totally,
But
yes, it matters. It does matter because at the end of the day, it's still a black person that got an opportunity, regardless of where that opportunity and what particular industry it came from. A black person getting a job is good. Period. There is no negative there.
hmm,
A black
okay.
person who gets a job, who eventually might be able to start his own business where he can employ his family. Still good. It may be a totally different industry. He may be in the music business. The man might go into might go into selling shoes. But if he started his own shoe company and he can employ people, his family and his friends, total different industry. Is that going to help black folks? Yes, because there's more black folks getting employed.
I
Man
wish we
might
can get the stats for this. This would be actually greatness. But
th- th- my thing is the stats don't matter. If it's one black person getting hired, that's better off. And I don't see where
so
black people
if
have
Jay
such
Z
an issue with
hired
how many black
four,
people do we
let's
have to
say he
hire for it to
hired
be okay?
48 white people, one black person, and one Mexican. That's good.
Yeah, it's great for that one
No,
black person. It's awesome for that one black person.
man.
Okay.
Okay. Whatever.
You could not make any financial changes or any real financial stands without a group economics concept happening in the black community. It's
How
on
is
black people as a whole to take that on, not
but
one guy.
but I understand what you're saying, Roger. I get it, but how is Jay-Z hiring one black person with a bunch of white people supposed to make a change for the whole black community?
What I'm saying, I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, black people, in order to make a change, we have to do it as a whole. So if he got himself in position to hire somebody, he did his part. He got a guy hired. Most of us can't afford to hire somebody else. If we want to have black businesses that thrive, and we want to be able to work for black people or own a business and hire black people ourselves, we have to participate. Period. And Jay Z, however, whatever his percentage rate is on hiring black people, he's doing it. He's involved. There's black people that got jobs because he's at the position that he's in. Now, if they spread that and hire some more black folks, that's great too. But at the end of the day, if we start throwing stones at the guy who can hire black folk, we stupid.
Oh no, I'm not saying we should throw stones. I'm just, just
No,
having
I'm not
opinion.
trying to imply you
But
are. I'm not trying
oh,
to imply you are. But my point is the percentage don't matter. There's more black people that get hired, and we just simply need to carry that on. It's us as a community that has to participate in group economics
I
because it
think
don't work off the back of
honestly,
one person.
us as a community, if we were to support black businesses more than trying to hire, I feel like if we support and put our money more into black things, black businesses, then we would be able, more businesses would be able to hire more black people. But of course, black people are kind of frivolous with their money. So, yeah, that's not going to happen. Black people
Yeah,
don't stick together. We don't. We don't stick together. We pick and
but see,
choose when we want to work together, and that's a problem. But that's another story.
but see,
Right,
but
right.
that's my point though. But that's my point. Jay Z just one dude. We can't look at Jay Z and put it all on his back and say, well, he got to hire over 50% black people for us to be okay with what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? That's us as a group being selfish toward him. What we have to say is we're going to support the business that we're going to support the product and services he's offering as a community, and we have to do that amongst other black people that ain't famous either. Like, you know what I'm saying? The black guy with the corner store, we got to support his business. The little people with, you know what I'm saying, the little black couple with the restaurant, we got to support their business. At the end of the day, unless we do that, we just not in position to criticize somebody at any success level, in my opinion.
Oh,
Or
okay.
the black
No.
dude with the cell phone.
Say that again.
What?
I said, and the black dude with the cell phone.
What?
I don't. Talking
Yeah.
about I got the
Oh,
hookup.
Oh yeah,
No,
I
no, no, no. There's a black-owned
actually.
cell phone. It's called a figure phone. Figure phone.
Hold
Look it up.
on, let me look this up.
Yep.
I mean, it's not that's not
No.
Figure,
impossible to believe. Black
figure
folks get
for
into
my
a lot of stuff.
niggas.
Yeah, you know
Oh
what I'm saying.
my god.
That's not impossible to believe.
Oh, I just didn't believe the name, but wow.
Now, if I'm lying, I'm flying, and I ain't took off yet.
She
How
not
about that?
lying. Let me look at these phones. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
but
coming
I'm saying
soon.
from a
Ooh.
small or great level. If it's because I don't know what that cell phone company does, if they provide cell phone service or if they're just providing the phones themselves.
They do
If you help
both.
black people get
They do
a
both.
what, regardless of
I
that, the
implore
point is,
you to
if
watch that show on Netflix by Killer Mike because the first episode he has to survive solely off of black products. Period. He cannot eat if it is not provided by a black farmer, if it's not bought from a black restaurant. He cannot talk on the phone if it's not a black owned cell phone company with black owned cell phones and cell phone providers. Like he couldn't do anything. And there was a lot of things he actually went without because there were no black business owners that offered what he needed, like
but
transportation.
that
Exact,
that could
Dang,
very
he
well
even
exactly.
be
got a
true.
cell phone plan. Yo, I might have to
But
look.
what he couldn't do, that's a reflection on what black people aren't getting done. Because at the end of the day, there's black folks providing products and services. And my thing is, we as black people need to start actually paying attention to these folks and get into different stuff that's provided by our own people. And if we don't do that, I just feel like we shouldn't dare criticize any black person that has a business. Because even if your business is small, if you're the guy that just selling candy on the corner, selling bottles of water, you're still in business doing something for yourself. You don't know how far that business can grow if a person is actually supported. But if you're not supported, what they gonna do?
Um, so as far as like the business part, black business part, I feel like not all, very few, some of people, black people that start businesses are or have businesses are terrible at it. They don't know how to. They're just horrible. I'm sorry. I've came across a lot of black businesses that are
I-
terrible. And it sucks
And
because I don't want to be like, okay, I'm not going back to you because I want to support black things, but it's just, it's hard. Like, they
yes,
didn't get
is
like
it's very hard
education on that.
as especially especially when you're bad at business. I'm sorry, it's very hard.
Okay, well, I'm gonna
Like,
propose y'all look at things like this because I understand because this argument always comes up amongst black people and supporting black business. There's always gonna be a reason to not support black business. At the end of the day, you need to look at are we providing the customer base for that business to compete with whoever you think the standard is.
hmm
Meaning, if a person has a restaurant and it's owned by just that one little family or just that one little guy, that one little woman, whatever it is, and their restaurant is not up to the standard of Denny's. Denny's is a multi-million-dollar company. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they make a billion in a year, but I know they make millions
Denny's.
in a year.
ew, he
Denny's.
It's
talking
a
about
Where
name.
you
another
It's a
been,
name
restaurant
that people
fam.
know. No, it
insert
doesn't make a
soldier
difference.
boy gift here?
No, no, no.
Denny's.
Hold on. It don't make no difference. Denny's is a name that's around. That's in more than one spot. They make millions a year. Period. So
Denny's is
regardless of how
also
you
known
feel
for
about
being
it,
racist, so let's
what,
not talk
what
about Denny's. Terrible
whatever.
racist.
Exactly.
No, no. You know what? You know what? If they known for being racist, that's even better. Because at the end of the day, folks still going there, regardless of what they known for, especially for something negative against black people. Now, if you look, take that little restaurant, and then you got this guy, or you just got this one little couple that own one location, and we barely go to that location. Well, guess what? They can't compete and give you what Denny's can give you because we as a community have not supported them to be able to compete on that level. We got to
What?
support them first before we can require certain things from them. Now,
Wait,
it's one thing to say, y'all not giving
that's
me
not
X,
what we
Y,
were
and Z, but
saying.
you making money. I'm not saying that's what you're saying, but I'm saying when it comes to supporting black businesses, what we first need to look at is what money are they actually making versus the service or product they're providing. Because you cannot put out You can't have a business and put out a bunch of cars unless you already got millions of dollars. When you start something, you starting it small. 9 times out of 10, if you're black, it's gonna be small from the get go. And there's some stuff you just not gonna be able to cover that other businesses can. You can't necessarily make everything nice and bright like the white company can until you get that type of money. That's all I'm saying.
I mean,
So
that's not what I was implying. I was just saying that a lot of, or some black business owners are terrible at owning a business. They're terrible with working with people. They're terrible with doing a service for their own people.
Hey,
Like that's
Pooh,
what I was saying,
I, I,
not
I
yeah,
got
what you stated.
okay. I mean, I'm not gonna say that's not true, but I do notice that even when people come across terrible service, when black folks come across terrible service from a business, the rhetoric, and I'm not saying you saying this, but the rhetoric is usually, well, I ain't buying from no black business anymore because I came across this
Oh
particular
no,
thing that did this
no,
oh
one thing.
oh no,
But
that's not
no.
white,
no
they don't say
that
it. They don't say it. They don't say the same thing when it comes to white-owned business. You don't go to a white-owned business and
Shit.
get terrible service and then
shit.
say, "Well, I'm not shopping at white-owned businesses no more." What I'm saying, the
Yeah,
main thing
I
black people say,
have.
I got bad service from this one black person. I'm through with black owned businesses. If unless you're
That's
And
gonna
see, I
take that
don't
same
that's
attitude
understand
to the
those
that
white folks,
that's
people.
that that's not that I don't understand them either because I got a bad service from a black owned business and I just did not go back. I went to another black owned business that was right down the street.
with me,
So
I give black owned businesses a time frame to get better because
Yeah, that's what I
number
do. I try
one,
to space it out. I won't go back for about a month or
I
two. Maybe
I
they'll get it
I do
together.
I do I do give them some time to get it together, but if they not getting it together, I'm sorry, I gotta roll. um,
I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
I feel what you're saying. I feel what you're saying. I'm not gonna argue that point because I'm not gonna tell somebody to spend their money at a place where they feel they're not getting their money's worth from it. All I'm saying is when I come across a black-owned business, even if it's not up to snuff like I feel it should be, or if it's not at the level that I see the competitors is at, my thing is I'm gonna look at the community and see is does it look like they bringing in that type of money? Do they got lines up to the front door? Is people standing outside? Is the phone steady going off? Are they getting a bunch of internet customers or whatever the case is?
Uh,
If they
uh,
not pulling in the money and the place they selling from basically look like a dump, I don't have no problem with the fact that the place look like a dump because they ain't got the money to support not looking like a dump. Now, if I see you
well,
making millions of dollars and you never make a change, then I have an issue. But unless
well,
we get you to that point, I don't see no reason to complain.
well. Let me tell you like this. Let me tell
No,
you
the
like
place ain't got
this.
to look like a
And
dump.
and and this place, it did look like a dump for what? It was just very ratchet, very ghetto. I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and it was just very ratchet, very ghetto, not professional, real loud. And I
Wait, wait,
gave it
wait,
a
wait, wait,
chance.
wait, 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 wait. What are you saying? You're from Detroit, Michigan. So what should be assumed from that statement?
What should be assumed from that statement? I'm not saying anything, and I'm not saying that all businesses are bad, but certain places in certain areas where you go, people just take advantage. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying everywhere is just bad or whatever, but certain places that you go, like I did, and I stayed there for about 6 months, and then I left and went to the shop down the street, and then I got better service, better quality. So that's all I'm saying.
Well, this is my thing. When it comes to supporting black businesses, somehow it always comes up about these black people that's just treating their businesses like trash and not treating their customers right and all this other type of stuff. I basically don't pay no attention to it because I don't run across that. Usually, what I run across is I see black people going above and beyond because they already know the fact that they black is going against them. Because black folks can't wait to have an excuse not to support them. That's what I see. Now, I'm not saying it ain't nobody that's bad that owns a business that's black. Of course, that's true somewhere. All I'm saying is, I personally see people going above and beyond what they need to do because they understand they already behind the eight ball.
Eg- exactly, Roger. And that's this
Hey,
this place where I'm going to now. She go above and beyond, regardless.
cool, cool. But I mean, like, shouldn't we be supporting black businesses anyway? On this panel for real. Do y'all actively go out of your way to find the black businesses for the things that you need? You know, based on Bree bringing up Killer Mike. Like, what kind of example do you think you are in your everyday personal lives of that? And I can tell you right now, from my standpoint, I do try to patronize a black business whenever I see one. But as far as going to find them actively, I do admit that I need to improve on myself. So just to get that out the way, just to be honest, brutally honest, actually.
And
What,
I
what I
will
think
admit, and I will admit, I need to improve on that as well.
now, I would say I personally still say I need to improve on it. But what I will do from time to time, I just look up stuff that I need and I just see if there's a black business that offers it. You know what I'm saying? And I actually have some friends that do the same thing, and I found some very interesting stuff that people offer. Now, um, today being June 1st, I'm actually gonna order. I get some new toothbrushes. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get some new toothbrushes. The new toothbrushes I'm gonna get is actually what my friend let me know about because it's a company that's black owned that sell toothbrushes. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna order their brand of toothbrushes. You know what I'm saying? Just to do my part to help black folks out. There's a laundry detergent that I switched to because I found that it was owned by black folks. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I like to use. You know
let
what
me
I'm
ask
saying? From
let me
go
ask
ahead,
y'all a
go ahead.
question. Would you go inside of a white owned business to get a black product made by? Do you think that makes any small amount of difference?
Oh, absolutely,
Say
because I
that,
do that now.
say that again.
I'm saying, would you go inside of a white business to get a product made by a black person?
My
Right.
Yes.
answer is yes.
Okay, so that even though it comes out of a white business, that's still investing in a black product, which is the understanding. So one day this black person can come up and make a tangible difference in our community, which is the point that I think that everyone is trying to make. Does it make a tangible difference?
It
Yeah,
does.
it does because eventually you got to have money to make differences. And I know I was just in a place. I don't know if I don't really want to say the name of the store, but I'm pretty sure it's owned by white folk. But when I bought some socks just because I needed some socks, and the socks were Kenneth Cole. You know what I'm saying? Not too long. I remember my friend told me not too long ago that Kenneth Cole is a black person. So I bought some Kenneth Cole socks, and then on my way out the door, you know what I'm saying, I saw some watches. And there was some Kenneth Cole watches. So I just grabbed a Kenneth Cole watch. Why? Because he's a black person. So I'd
Okay.
rather get his watch than somebody else.
Okay. Well, let's shift the conversation a little bit, Roger. You look at the screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
and who is that? We all know who that is, and there's no need to say who that motherfucker is right there. The fact of
Yeah.
the matter is, this guy's caught a lot of flack in recent years, and maybe going spanning over a decade. Michael Jordan, and the main that he never does anything for the black community. Now, you being a Michael Jordan fan, Roger, I would think that you would have a rebuttal set up for just in case this kind of conversation happened. So, so what's your rebuttal, Roger? Chicago native.
You know, you know what? Get,
Go ahead, go
give
ahead.
me, no, no. I was just gonna say, give me 1 second. I'm actually on my phone. My battery's about to lie. Let me go grab my charger so I don't cut off real quick. So
Okay,
just give me 1 moment.
cool. Well, that means that somebody else can chime in. I haven't heard Q at all tonight. What's up, Q? Thanks for joining us. Are you there, Q? Well, guess not. I guess he's away from the mic at the moment.
Yeah, I'm here, man. I'm just listening in, bro. I don't really have a lot of battery power out here where I am right now.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for joining us anyway.
All right, appreciate it.
All right, cool, cool.
I didn't want to
But
cause a lot of background noise. I'm out here doing a training mission, so
oh, okay, cool,
yeah,
cool. One of those.
yeah, one of those, man. I tell you, shit. People don't understand when you talk about just the way that we're living in general. When you actually come out to the field and everything is based on being rationed out to you, you'll have an understanding. So I'm listening to you talk about group group economics, right? That's a theme that we're talking about.
Mm. Oh
So
the topic is nice guys, date policing, and the pro blackness of it all. And we're in the pro black conversation of it. And Roger had brought up group economics, and you know how that is very pertinent to being pro black.
No, okay, my apologies. I am returning. All
Uh,
right.
but yes, but we what went before. Well, I guess we'll pick up where we left off, Roger. The Michael Jordan has come across come across many forms of social media as far as part of the black conversation itself. And the complaint it is often complaints you hear about Michael Jordan is that he never does anything for the black community. Now, do you have a rebuttal for this, Roger? Seeing that you are the Chicago native and you are the fan of Michael Jordan, check out your avatar. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff I like about Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, I am from Chicago. You know what I'm saying? I was from the city where you won the championships and all that. So yeah, I'm good with Mike. But at the end of the day, Mike actually does stuff for the black community. Mike don't go around shouting about everything he does for the black community, but he actually does it. He's giving people scholarships. He's giving a lot of money to like the Boys and Girls Club. He does try to hire black people for a lot of different stuff. So he actually does do stuff for the black community. It's just that people forget that the media is basically controlled by white folks, and the white folks don't have an interest in saying what black people are doing for the black community because that doesn't fit their narrative. And for black people to if you complain about something like that, it just means you go along with whatever white people say. And I'm just saying, honestly, as a black person that lives in America, which is still controlled by white folks, and I'm not saying all white folks are bad, but you have a percentage of white supremacists that do have power and money. They can do what they can to control narratives. If you're only gonna go along with what white folks say, you're gonna be misled basically just about all the time. It's gonna be a whole lot. You're gonna be misled. So Michael Jordan actually does a lot of stuff for the black community, and he currently employs a lot of black people. Now I can't tell you what the percentages is, but I've definitely seen Michael Jordan employees.
all right, so I've heard there was another, I can't remember the YouTuber's name, who talked about economics, right? Economics, or however you want to say it. And he had a theory, and he pointed out to a lot of major cities because that was one of his topics. For us, by black. To invest in our own race, right? Can you
Mm-hmm.
hear me? Okay,
Yeah.
so here was a theory that he laid out. He said if you look at the major metropolitan areas that blacks have, that African Americans actually dominate in, look at those cities from at the turn of the century up until 2019 and tell me what happened. Let's look at Atlanta. Let's look at there's a city in Memphis, Tennessee. Let's look at Detroit. Let's look at Flint. Let's look at South Central California. Let's look at uh, PG, Maryland. There is only one real city area, and that's the city in Maryland where a lot of well-to-do blacks who have a combined total household income of over $300,000 per year, right? Can you point out
Hmm.
any other? Can you point out any other cities where blacks, African Americans, mainly dominate and control the population per numbers, and tell me how well those cities have done? I'll wait.
I can't point it out. I actually heard of something that's in Texas, but I would have to get some real clarification just to make sure. But I have
Yeah.
heard of a spot where they're doing very well in Texas, but that's just one city,
Well,
one
yeah.
other
They.
city,
Well,
if that
see.
is.
So well, see, it's a part of Dallas that you're talking about, and
Oh,
and
okay.
and that city would be, I believe, it's Denton, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas, right? But we're talking about cities. So if you look at not a suburb of a city, cities. So if you look at the five major cities where blacks have dominated or African Americans have dominated the population, meaning that they were 70% black or more. Tell me what happened to those cities. At one point in time, the city of Detroit was 83% black. At one point in time, the city of Atlanta was 88% black. At one point in time, the city of DC had about 82 or 83% of that city was of African American descent. What happened to those cities?
Well, I know when you talk about Detroit, I know they had a lot of problems that came up because
What?
black.
See, you're missing my point. And this has been a fear of white people for generations. When you give the cities over, those cities that were dominated primarily by African Americans, and I don't want anybody to think that I'm talking down on our people. You got to understand that those cities had black mayors, those cities had black city councils, those cities,
Exactly.
those cities were dominant in almost every single category politically. What happened to those cities is oftentimes, whether we want to admit it or not, is oftentimes what happens to even the white cities. However, comma pause, white people understand, our Anglo-Saxon cousins, they understand how to correct the deficiencies. When shit starts to go downhill, they will get motherfuckers out of there. Not us. You know why we don't do that? Because we have this unwritten rule about remaining loyal because somebody looks like us.
Exactly. Exactly. Q. Good point. Good point.
So, so we can
Good point.
practice. So we can practice all the economics that we want to practice until we get people with the right mindset. What's the mayor's name who came up? It was the mayor of D.C., right? With the cocaine and the crack deal. What was his name?
I don't remember his name, but I heard about him.
Okay,
I heard
okay.
about him too.
All right, I believe he was the mayor of Washington D.C. at one point in time. He got caught up with the crack cocaine, and he coined the phrase, uh, "cocaine is a hell of a drug." And then he got reelected after he was, moved out. They brought him back, and he continued down the same path. Now that's
And
not.
and Q, the mayor you're talking about is Marion Barry.
Yes, Marion Barry. Thank you very kindly. So, see, this is the problem because oftentimes, more so than not, what we want to do, those of us who are considered the top 10% within our community who rise to these positions, guess what they do? They end up trying to do exactly what white people do. They end up extorting the city, not keeping the city, in order, mismanaging funds, and ultimately those cities go to waste. That's what happened to Atlanta, which I'm old enough to remember when Freaknik was going on, and everybody that was at an HBCU or that was in college, no matter where you were, in the not in the late '80s and early '90s, Atlanta was the place to go. Everybody was moving to Atlanta, Georgia. Period. Everybody wanted to go to Atlanta.
Yeah, I remember when people were talking about how hype Atlanta was.
Atlanta was hype at that point in time because
My
you
gr-
could.
my grandma used to talk about it.
Atlanta was the place to be because you could walk into any bank and all you saw was people who looked like us, from the bank president to the vice president to the tellers to the security guards to the person mopping and sweeping the floors. They all look like us. The hospitals, most of the hospitals have, the predominant uh, were made up of, the nurses were African American. A lot of African American doctors were in Atlanta. You had all types of different firms that were there in Atlanta. So Atlanta was the Wakanda of the late 80s and early 90s. I used to we hit Atlanta, the Freaknik, almost every year during that time frame. I think it was a short run, about 4 or 5 years. But at the end of the day, that's what was going on. DC, in the DC a whole lot in the 80s and 90s. I remember when the war got really, really bad in Southeast DC. White folks was like, y'all can have the city. We out of here. They moved out into the county and they gave black folks the city. Now, it was odd for me to go to DC and see all of the politicians and all of that shit there in DC, and on one side of the street, and you saw drug dealers and gangbangers and murderers on the other side. I was like, wow, this is crazy. So you see, it's more than just, and this is why I bring this up. It's more than just supporting black businesses because we have become individualized. It's all about getting the support, which is what's going on YouTube right now. I get the support from black people. Come listen to me. I'm better than this person or that person, the other person. Subscribe to my channel. Super chat me. And that's the problem. You see how divided we are even on YouTube. And
Yeah.
everybody that frequents, and I'll break this down real quick at a lower level. My phone's probably gonna die, but anyway, I'll try to break this down for you. So let's take YouTube right now. What would happen if all of the major players within the circles that we travel in all got together and said, you know what? We're going to vet and support one person, and that person, we're going to put money into it to actually get a small radio station that could broadcast all of our shows out to the masses in order to get support, because that's what you have to do. You have to cross over if you really want to make money. The bottom line is it's more of them than it is us. So you have to cross over in order to get that big payday, that paper. But we can't even get along. We can't even get along enough to do that. So I don't have any problems with being bipartisan. But at the end of the day, my heart is still with my community because I'm a black man first, so I have to be pro-black. Period. There's no other way around it. Do you
Okay,
understand what I'm saying?
I feel what you're saying, but what I would throw in is that one thing that what I'm saying, is I started researching stuff about the black community, and even with like Detroit, for example, because it was a lot of folks that started to get in position in Detroit. Now, I can't tell you about how all those other cities went into certain failures, but Detroit, its economic base was basically kind of riding off GM. When GM started
Exactly.
pulling from that, when they pulled that economic base out of there, everybody started having problems because you didn't have that economic base. Black
Right,
folks didn't have another economic base to replace it. So the way I
right.
look at it is things fall because black people, we don't understand the importance of group economics. If we
No.
did understand the importance of group economics, I don't think things would be as bad as they went if they went bad at all.
Okay, so you made a very valid point. So if I am the mayor of a city like Detroit, for example, and GM and Ford and Chevy are the mainstay of how my city supports itself. The citizens of my city supports itself, right? When they
Mhm.
start announcing or shutting down factories, guess what I must then do? I must then reach across the aisle to my white compatriots, right? And I must bring in opportunities that are going to replace that. Period. Bar none. We don't have any African American major automotive manufacturers here that could have came in and replaced it. So you got to replace it with other things. They fail to do that. That's what white people do. White people, and I hate to use that term, but I will, our Anglo-Saxon brethren, what they will do is they will see where a factory is getting ready to close. But guess what they will do? They will bring in another source to replace it and support it because they think in terms of longevity. We think short term. So when they got ready to close GM and they got ready to close Ford and Chevy, some of those factories and plants, guess what I do as the mayor of that city? Hey, we already have the factories here. We already have the assembly lines. Why sit and let them be dormant? And then I go and I say, okay, Ford, Chevy, GM, you're going to close the factory up. You have no plans to use them. This is what I propose to keep the growth of the city and keep us abreast economically. Let's bring in outside sources. Let's go to the Japanese. Let's bring in Infinity. Let's bring in Nissan. Let's bring in companies from Europe. Let's go to talk to BMW. Let's go talk to Audi. Let's go talk to these other places that'll say, "Hey, that's a great that's a great way for us to move in and get a ground hold on it." You see how that works?
I mean, I totally get what you're saying, but that's why I don't know if you heard earlier when we was discussing Jay Z being in his position. That's why I was saying it was a good thing, period. Because at the end of the day, what black folks lack is we don't supply our own economic base, and we'll never get to that point if we're always nitpicking black businesses and finding reasons not to shop at them. That's my point. We have to get to the point where we can have a economic base. There's nothing wrong with working for anybody who's going to pay you, but we have to have an economic base at some point in time, and we can't always look for other people to rescue any particular situation that we happen to come across. As long as if we make an effort to stay dependent, then we as a people must accept what was given. That's the way I look at it.
Okay, so how do you replace major automotive with what? What's
No,
an
I'm not.
example? Just
I'm not saying you could at that point. But my point is, if we don't do what we can to be dependent upon ourselves, we'll never be in position to replace something like that. Period. We don't have an economic base as a group of people. We just don't, and that's why we're left open to whatever happens. We are
well,
literally, as a group, blowing in the wind.
well, we missed a mark on that. The time for us to set an economic base for African Americans in this country was during the Civil Rights Movement.
Movement. Exactly.
That was the time for us to actually set, or for us as a group of people to actually set something in play to have an economic base for African Americans. Remember, we talking about
Well, we had it then, but that's when we also lost it. So, but as the saying goes, um, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is today.
right. So at the end of the day, what I'm telling you is we missed the mark because what happened was over the course of the next 30 years, the United States went to a heavily industrialized um, country, right? 50s, 60s, 70s, and part of the 80s, we were still in an industrialized revolution, so to speak, where the physical jobs were the main driving force behind the economy. All right. Mid 80s, we went more to the technical side. where a lot of stuff started going over computers. You stopped seeing the old slide machines where you should take your credit card and you just put it on the old slide machines and make a carbon copy of it and you sign it and then they turn it in and send it up to the credit card. That went away. It went computerized, right? The people that made the
Mm-hmm.
money, the people that made the money, right? Because I lived in Southern California, I remember my father coming home who worked for 35 years for Sears and Roebuck in the appliance division. I remember him saying that he had a friend. This was years, decades later. He said, "You know what? I missed the mark." He said, "I had a friend of mine, a white guy that I worked with at Sears and Roebuck. He went and he took his stocks, everything he had from Sears and Roebuck. That's back when they used to still do the stocks and bonds, and he invested it in Silicon Valley." But again, this is the knowledge. He wanted to do the same thing, but his father, my grandfather, was against it. He said, "Son, you don't ever give your money to somebody for them to play with, let somebody else play with your money." That's simply because the educational level wasn't there. He didn't understand how it works. So my father, being a good son, he took the advice of his father. Now, fast forward, my father tells me to do the direct opposite because we learn from mistakes. And like my dad said, I'd have been a multi-millionaire had I took that money in the 70s, mind you. We're talking about the 70s, and invested it in Silicon Valley. Where do you think he'd be right now?
Yeah, more than likely be uber rich. More than likely.
Super rich. You see, so this is where it's not so much as investing into our community as it is investing into the right thing. Because at the end of the day, yes, Jay Z is the first rap billionaire and all that great stuff, and he employs a lot of black people and all that great stuff. But here's the problem with that: they have an individualistic mindset, as does Michael Jordan, who saved a couple of black high schools in Chicago. You know, he bailed them out and all of this great stuff and gives out scholarships and all that stuff. Fine and dandy. Fine and dandy. Great. Wonderful. Can't take anything from that, right? If you feed a man a fish, you feed him for the day. If you teach a man to fish, you feed him for life. That's the part that we're missing right there. That's what we are missing as a race of people. See, it's
And
good that
I can
it's
agree
good.
that it's missing. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's good that Jay Z is a millionaire. It's good that he can afford to hire X amount of black people. He's only going to hire maybe 100 or so, if that. Okay, if you take, let's look at it like this. If you take all of the multi-million dollar athletes, African American athletes, combine them together, how much money do you have? Wow, that's a staggering number, right? I'm talking about Major League Football, Major League Baseball. I'm talking about boxing. I'm talking about baseball, football, basketball, boxing, all the other sports combined, right? All you would have to do, in my opinion, is come together economically and say, listen, we're going to go in and develop these economic groups to put different things or invest in different things back into the communities around the country. That's your start because it takes capital at a certain point when you're talking about becoming a entrepreneur or when you talk about becoming an upstart. It takes capital. The dude that had food, the clothing line, they sold out. Why?
At the end
Why
of the
did
day, it came down to money.
how can we come down to money? Because you remember now, food Fubu, they didn't sell out until they didn't. They people didn't stop buying that brand of clothing until they switched over and went commercial.
No, no. I understand what you're saying, and that's why I think if you're making some noise in the background, you got to mute up if you're doing what you're doing.
Who
I
is
think
that?
that's
Me?
you. No, I
Yeah.
think that was Raphael.
Okay.
Um, no, what I'm saying is the point is,
That's not me.
be- well, whoever that is, mute up if you're making that noise, whoever it is. But the point is, we if we as a group of people do not take on a decision to be involved in group economics, all you have is a bunch of individuals. That's not going to change. And black people who get in those positions where they can get the money, because yeah, you do got a lot of people who come up in as far as becoming professional athletes. You got folks in the entertainment business, and you got folks that just work and earn business quietly through the American system.
But
But
this
at
is
the end of the day, you're not going to have the change until we think about group economics, because those people in those positions have to be thinking to do it, and
right,
they
right,
don't think to do it.
right, Roger. But you got to understand, you're saying exactly what I thought you would say. And here's the problem: those people that have made it, like Jay Z, he's thinking individualistically. He's not thinking group economics. He's only doing enough to say, look, see, I'm giving back. I hire X amount of black people. That's the problem. They don't have any mindset outside of the box and say, we need to work collectively. I need to look at something collectively for my people. Master P talked about it all the time. He said, that's one thing that I would do differently if I could go back over and be at the height of my career and had, and be where I was. I would get together with several other rappers and entertainers and singers, and we would create distribution for ourselves. We would go ahead on and create our own labels. See, that's the problem. That's where we miss. That's the point I'm trying to drive home. Instead of Jay Z now being a billionaire and saying, hey, I tried title, but it didn't work. So let me look at what my white compatriots are doing and do what they did. That's how you follow. You don't recreate the wheel. You don't. You follow the keys or the pathway to success. If
I
I,
agree to
okay,
that, and
okay,
Jay Z
so
is going to do that.
yeah, but he's doing it for his own selfish personal reasons.
No,
You
no,
see,
I get that he is, and won't argue that point. But my thing is, at the end of the day, it's still a good thing. If black people don't understand, and we can point, hey, do this because it worked, and if this guy can do it, you can do it too,
yeah,
and you
but
can use that to
you
hire
know,
your people.
you know what, Roger, and we talked about this the other night. You have this mindset that just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Jay Z caught some breaks. He was a talented person, but Jay caught some breaks, right? That doesn't
No,
go
no,
without. Wait a minute, wait a minute.
no, no. I'm just saying that ain't my mentality. It's just you only can pull yourself up by your bootstraps. My thing is, regardless of how you got up, by the time they get up, we need to be thinking in that group economic standpoint, regardless of how it happens.
But everybody can't do the same thing, brother. It's not meant for everybody to do it. Look, the law of attrition is something that doesn't that does not give for anybody. Everybody can't be Jay Z. Everybody can't be Ice Cube.
I'm not
Everybody
saying
can't
that.
be Wait a minute. But you just said if he could do it, then why can't you? That's
No, no,
true.
no. What I'm saying is, if we're already thinking about group economics, when we get into those positions, but it
But
have to be already done things. More people would do it.
group economics does not help unless the person at the top of the unless the person at the top, they have to have a holistic mindset, meaning that they are willing to reach back down and invest back into the communities in which they came out of. That's how that works. If I'm making money at the top, I can give back a little bit here and there. But if I'm not thinking holistically about my community, holistically, you see what happens is when people like that get to the top, they become extremely selfish. Extremely selfish. Floyd Mayweather, good dude, does some things for the community, But at the end of the day, it's all about him. That selfish mindset, selfish mentality. I put my life on the line, boxed for 20 years, made X amount of millions of dollars. You go out there and you get it how you get it. See, that's the problem.
Well, let me put it to you like this: it's like you got this thing where we're saying that basically that anybody black that makes it should bring back something for I would say for black people, right? Am I correct in saying that?
You are
Well, I
But
mean,
absolutely
that's
correct.
but
well, I
what
mean,
about go ahead?
oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Okay. Well, I was gonna say real quick. My thing is, if you already thinking in terms of group economics when you become the man, however you became the man, just like I just said, I was at a store. You know what I'm saying? My man told me, "Hey, Kenneth Cole is a company owned by a black man." Okay, boom. I bought some socks and I bought a watch because it was Kenneth Cole. Period. Now I do the same actions. Let's say now I'm worth $100 million doing the same actions. You see what I'm saying? I'm buying products that I know are owned by black people, regardless of how you see it. If you just see me as a selfish individual, if I'm buying from black-owned companies, I'm still helping the black community. Period. At the end of the day, because the money
How?
is flowing toward black
How?
people.
I know it's
Because there's
going
some
towards
money
that.
flow to black people.
It's going towards that individual. Okay, see, here's how what I would tell you. There is no reason whatsoever that in 2019 that you still have these major HBCUs in the conditions in which they're in. None whatsoever. None. There is no reason why the major HBCUs should not have enrollments that rival your PWI institutions. None whatsoever. You got HBCUs that do not even have enough dormitory space for the students to live on campus. That's sad. You know why it's sad? Because the federal government and the powers that be, the major dominant part of society, which is the white part of society, they will never ever allow an HBCU to become as big as the University of Michigan or Southern California or Alabama. They will not allow Alabama State to do that. You look at the enrollment of your major HBCUs, Howard University, for example. Michigan has over 30, the University of Michigan has over 30,000 students every year. You know how many students Howard University enrolls every year?
I'm not sure.
Less than 3,500. Not even 10%. But we have all of these actors and entertainers, and see, that's what they do. They think group economics. You know why? Because they have investors, they have people that come back. The University of Notre Dame, people invest back into those schools. They're called donors. They're called what do you call them? What do you call them? I can't. I knew the
They got
word.
different sponsors. They got different sponsors,
No,
and I know the people that don't.
not sponsors. I can't even. I can't even call the damn name. I can't.
I know they
Trustees.
got people that
No,
give
not
donations.
trustees. Not trustees. It's another word I'm looking for. I can't remember it right now off the top of my head. I'll think about it in a few moments. But boosters, like boosters, right? Okay, you look at the high schools. There's a high school down in Texas where I'm stationed at. It's a white high school, predominantly white high school. That high school has the most. They just rebuilt the motherfucker, right? That high school has the state of the art everything in there. Harker is called Harker Heights High School. Killeen High School is where most of the African Americans and Mexican students go. It's run down. It's shabby. It's 10 years behind fucking where it should be. They have the larger population. Harker Heights pays their students, pays their teachers. I'm sorry, not their students. They pay them more. They're a smaller community because people come back and they have boosters that invest into those schools. We don't do that. So you can translate that over into the group economics that you're talking about. Yes, it's education, but it's still group economics. If every athlete If two NBA players got together and sponsored one HBCU and donated money, you're gonna get it back or tax write off. You get it back. I don't understand why you can't say, hey, you know what? I'm Steph Curry. Instead of putting my money in Davidson University, where I went to school at, which is a PWI, I'm going to invest in an HBCU. I'm going to spend $1.3 million of my money and I'm going to build a state of the art dormitory for this university.
You know
See
what,
how
Q?
that's how group economics works, because you're paving the way for others to get into a position, maybe not through athletics, maybe through academics, but that's how we're thinking about the group economics thing in the wrong way. Because you bought Kenneth Cole stuff, great. Guess what you did? You just made him, for however much money you spent for that watch, you just made him that much, that $200, $300 for that watch. You just made him $200, $300 richer.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, but my thing is you can't create change until change is done by us as a people. And the
Right.
same way you bring up the HBCUs, I if black people were to simply start, if we actually thought about this from a group economic standpoint, what if black folks started sending their athletes to these HBCUs? If you sent them there instead of all these major universities,
Wait a minute.
you know what I'm
Stop.
saying? Duke.
Stop. 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 First thing you have to do is you have to make those HBCUs competitive in the TV and market. That's the first thing you have to do. The reason why our athletes, our super athletes, are not going to these HBCUs and are turning to the Dukes and the Notre Dames and the Alabamas is because the HBCUs are not in a position to get those. Imagine if all of those black athletes that went to the University of Duke, what if they had all got together and said, you know what, we're going to go to Alcorn State. You know what, we're going to go to Howard. You know what, we're going to go to Alabama A&M together. They could have done that, but you got to
So
understand
it's,
And they still
those
can.
kids, they still can, but they're not going to get the national exposure
and you
on
know what
TV.
though, and you know
They
what though,
will.
this is why I'm so mad at BET. Because when BET
Thank
was
you,
actually black entertainment television,
thank you.
they used to televise those HBCU football games. I mean, and it was, and because I remember like the Magic City Classic and the Turkey Day Classic were two
I
major
remember too.
were two major events in HBCU football, and they used to play both of them on BET because BET, like that's when BET had the news, they had the sports programming, they had the comedy shows.
Before it
Uh,
was all about white folks. That you can just
yeah,
say it
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Before it was about white
They,
folks.
they had Team Summit at the time. And I mean, like they used to broadcast the HBCU football games, and a lot of channels did at the time. But BET, it went mainly through BET, and BET gave all of that shit up.
What I'm what
But
I'm
see,
what
my
I'm what
main
I'm
point is if all the athletes that were great decided to go to HBCUs and play whatever sport, whether it be football, basketball, whatever the case is, the at the end of the day, people want to see the best players. So what you do is you use your power
no,
as
that
best you can to
that
gain more power.
you're missing my
Television is
you're
going
missing
to
my you're
follow.
missing my point. You're missing the point.
No,
You're
I
miss
get your point,
no
but
no you don't. No
I
you don't.
disagree with it.
No you don't. No you don't. No you don't. Because if you understood the point, you would understand where I'm coming from. So you are telling me that I'm Zion Williams. You want me to go to a school where the dormitories are run down. You want me to go to a school where even if I do decide to stay and get a degree, it's the value of that degree because of the prominence of the university is not there. You understand? So before we start talking about why are our super athletes deciding to go to PWIs instead of HBCUs, we first got to get the standards of the university up to par. You got to get the Alabama A&Ms and the North Carolina A&Ts. You got to bring them up to the North Carolina, to the North Carolina states, you got to get Howard University in the same position as Georgetown University. You got to make those schools prestigious. Students are not
You got a choice. Let me ask you a question. You got a choice. You can go to a school that got 25, 3,000 students in it. You in a room, a dormitory room that's small as fuck. The campus is not desirable at all. It's run down. I mean, or I could go over here to North Carolina where I have my own apartment where I'm going to get national exposure because that drives my dream of making it to the next level. I'm going to be seen on TV. NBA players, scouts are going to come to watch my games. Nobody's going to Howard to see me.
So basically, what you're saying is um, that somehow, some kind of way, in order to get some exposure, we need to put on a dog and pony show.
No, what I'm telling you, we need to improve the facilities. I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
I mean,
I'm
isn't
telling
that
you,
what
no,
isn't that
no,
what having
no,
a nice good
no,
facility is? A dog
no,
and pony
no.
show.
It's not a dog and pony show.
I mean,
It's quality of life. It's quality of life.
I mean, it is quality of life, but at the end of the
Look,
day, you can't.
this is what I'm telling you. This is what I'm telling you. Do you know that when Air Force personnel are stationed, they have to be stationed on an Army base? Do you know that they pay them additional money to live on the Army base? Because they say the standard of living is not the same. Did you know that?
I didn't know it, but I can believe it.
Okay, wait a minute. So I'm telling you for facts. So if I'm a young black person, knowing what I know now, and I'm looking at a career in the military on the enlisted side or on the officer side, my first choice would probably be, knowing what I know now, the Air Force because they have a better quality of living. Their dormitories, they live in apartment style dormitories. They don't live in these cramped up small little rooms. They have, I mean, the DFATs, the dining facilities have better food. This is what I'm telling you. You're telling me to go to an HBCU where I'm going to get some cafeteria food like I had in high school, or I can go to the University of motherfucking Carolina and I can eat steak and eggs and shit for breakfast. That's what you're telling me? You got to
Now,
understand, these young kids live in a different world than we live
no, what I'm saying is you basically you got a chicken and egg problem. Somebody gonna have to be first. It's gonna have to be the donations, or it's gonna have to be the students. But if black people as a group, that's the whole point of group
in.
economics. It's as a group, not what one individual does.
Wouldn't that
No,
be
no, no, hear me out.
wouldn't that be practice would that not be practicing group economics if you took
Would there
all
not be what?
would that not be practicing group economics to invest back into your your universities and not just your communities but your
No, no,
universities?
Yeah, yes, it would. But at the end of the day, either side can be first. One side is not. There is not a one side that has to be first. Either side can go first. And anybody that waits on perfect conditions ain't gonna get nothing done. So if black people as a group would stop thinking as individuals and start doing something that's good for us, we will simply decide, hey, we're going to send our kids there regardless. And if you send the best athletes to those colleges,
But you're
they're
not
going to get the
because
coverage.
but you're not because it's ultimately on the student to sign, not the parents. It's the
No,
student's
I understand
choice.
that, but that's why group economics has to be a mindset of the group,
Let me ask you
not the
this.
individual.
I understand that. So let me ask. That's what I've been telling you. There was a story where a very prominent story where a student was getting ready to sign from high school to go to college. His mother wanted him to go to Alabama. He wanted to go to the University of Auburn. She wanted him to go to Alabama simply because she knew that he would get the exposure he needs in order to make the NFL. Both are prominent schools, both send athletes at a high rate onto the pros, right? But Alabama happens to be the more prestigious college as far as football is concerned. She got up and walked out on that child, walked on in his national press conference held on TV, not local TV, national TV. She got up and walked out, embarrassed that boy on national TV because she decided that he was going to go to the NFL And the best chance for him to go to the NFL was not to pick the school that he wanted to, was to pick the school that she wanted him to pick because of the exposure. This is what I'm telling
I understand that. And my point is group economics works if the group thinks about it. And your examples is about individuals doing something in the group not thinking about group economics. If we
you.
want to actually get the change, we got to start thinking about doing what the group needs to do.
Right, and the group needs to invest back into what first? How do we get? How do we at this stage in the game? How do we equal the playing field? What's the best way?
The only way to start making any progress is people who know better simply got to do better. So if you're a person that realizes that group economics is necessary, you need to participate in it. Tell other people they should participate in it. And if you have children, teach your children to do it. It's not going to be an overnight thing. That's just a reality because
I,
there's so many
I,
people on a different program.
I'm not telling you that it's going to be an overnight thing. I understand that more than anyone. I'm not telling you that it's going to be an overnight sensation. I get that. What I'm telling you is, okay, let's look at it like this. You got car companies that are buying for you to sponsor their cars, right? Right? Okay.
Okay.
So Hyundai comes to you and they say, hey, we really would like for you to buy we're gonna give you this Hyundai, whatever it is, top of the line, whatever model it is. And then Mercedes comes to you and say, well, we really want you to sponsor us. And who are you going to sponsor, Hyundai or Mercedes?
Honestly, I'm gonna go with whoever offering the most money.
There you go. So in that case, who would be able to offer you the more money?
I mean, we'll just assume it's Mercedes.
No, we don't have to assume it is. It is. Mercedes obviously is going to be able to offer you more money. Shoe contracts, for example, you talk about group economics. Converse comes to you and say, "Hey, we want you to sponsor. We want you to wear our shoe." Then Nike comes. Who do you go with?
I'm going with whoever offers the most money.
Which would be who?
Nike?
Okay, then. That's when we talk about group economics. That's how you have to look at it. That's why we're
No,
off. That's why we're listen. Let me finish. That's why we're off track as far as group economics because you just prove my point. Instead of
no, because
saying
those are businesses.
you just listen. You just prove my point as to why group economics does not work for us at this stage in the game because we're gonna go with the best return. We're going to go with the company or the school or whatever it is that's going to give us the highest return on our investment. That's capitalism.
And I'm not that has nothing to do with group economics because you just gave me a choice to pick two people outside of my group. At the end of the day, group economics, and I understand that black folks don't have the money that other businesses do, but at the end of the day, at the end of it, if you understand group economics, I'm going to take the most amount of money that I can get. I'm going to also take that money that I got from whoever gave it to me, and I'm gonna do stuff to invest in myself and my people. So
Thank you.
I'm gonna take. It
Thank
doesn't make a
thank
difference who gives
thank
me the money. You
thank
get
you.
money from. But I'm
Thank
saying, QD, it doesn't make a difference who gives you the money because when you open a store, you sell to everybody. You don't just sell to your people. You
thank
sell
you.
to everybody.
Thank you. But
So so you
what you're missing is the people at the top who are in these positions. They're not thinking holistically like that. They're thinking individually.
I
Well,
And
he
understand
so
is
that,
too.
but if you don't start teaching, no, I'm not. The point is, if you don't start teaching them before
Because the
they
first
get in
thing
those
out your mouth,
positions,
you
they're not going to
said,
do it.
All
I'm
right.
going to take care of myself and my people. The first thing out your mouth was yourself. That's
Of course,
everybody's
you can't do for
mindset.
others. You can't do for others
Everybody's
until you can do for
mindset
yourself.
is self first, and it should be.
Yeah, you
Right.
can't take care
And
of others if you can't do for
Hallelujah.
yourself.
so
But
let
what the difference is, when I say I'm gonna take care of myself and my people, I'm talking about myself. Yes, I'm talking about my family members and other black people. I'm gonna
okay.
do the best I can to put that money where I'm supporting black-owned businesses.
Right.
So therefore,
And
I'm
I
saying
understand.
if I'm rich, I'm gonna hire. Let's say I'm gonna hire a cook, I'm gonna hire a black cook. If I'm gonna hire a stylist, I'm gonna hire a black stylist. You know what I'm saying? If I'm getting landscaping done, I'm gonna hire a black landscaper. At the end of the day, I'm still gonna put that money as much as I can back to my own folk.
Ain't nothing, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what I'm telling you. You have the correct mindset. I'm agreeing with you as far as that, in that way of practicing group economics, because it does circulate the dollar back into the community. However, you have the vast majority of us who does not think that way. Nagash is a African American. They design clothes, right? They got some bad shit too. Matter of fact, shoes, boots, suits, dresses, you name it, purses,
Hmm.
and they import all of their materials from Africa. Black owned, black operated, everything, but everything, black finance, everything, right? People don't buy it, and they got shit that looks better to me than Gucci and Prada. But where do we put our money? We put our money into Gucci and Prada because we live in a very commercialized world. That's our problem. The white man's ice is always colder.
No, I mean I agree that
That's
that's
it.
our problem. All I'm
That,
saying is we got to
so
change that
so
mindset.
so that's what I'm telling you. That's why when everybody started talking about boycotting Gucci and shit, how many prominent black movie stars, actors, entertainers, NBA players actually put their actually set on what they said because of the
I,
racial shit that came up with it? How many?
I honestly didn't
Ti
follow the
was one.
boycott story
Okay,
because
okay.
I think
I did.
boycott is silly.
I did.
It's got to be a
I did.
lifestyle, not a boycott.
I
So
Well, you're missing the point. If you just said a minute ago that it has to start somewhere, so that's the start. You boycott it. Hey, I'm no longer going to wear your shit. I'm Ti. I'm a well-known rapper and actor and entertainer. I will no longer wear Gucci. Matter of fact, I'm going to go public and I'm going to denounce it public, and I'm going to have all my um, cohorts
glad,
to do
I'm
the
glad you
same.
said rappers. I'm glad you said rappers because it seems like every other rap song is a fucking commercial for somebody else's product. I
There
mean,
you go.
especially guys like Rick Ross. I mean,
There you
telling
go.
you know,
but I didn't see that as a start because he didn't say I'm gonna stop wearing Gucci and I'm gonna buy another black product
Oh
instead.
yeah,
but the point,
yes, he did. Yes,
well,
he
the point,
did.
the only point I was trying to make was is like, well, what Q was trying to say is if a rapper would have came forward and said I'm not going to wear Gucci and all that other stuff, that people would have listened. They're already using rappers pretty much to sell their products anyway. And like I said, one person that they missed for that is Rick Ross. You know, I give you another example. Young Jeezy talking about Ruth Chris Steakhouse and wearing Vizu jeans and shit. Gucci
Exactly.
Man, the name itself. I mean,
Exactly.
No,
Not
I mean
only that,
I get what he's saying, and I'm just
but
saying those
so
people in that power can promote black businesses.
so you have to understand. Um, that's why people follow what's popular. And if you got all of your people that are in the limelight, that are famous, that are living a lifestyle that most of the younger people desire to live, right? Lifestyle of the rich and famous. Well, if they buying it, if they're wearing it, then that's the end thing. It's a mindset change, which is what you said earlier, and I agree with you. That's why we're falling, we have failed, and we're falling further behind in group economics because we would rather make someone else rich. You talk about Jay Z. Let's talk about Jay Z with his clothing line, Sean Carter, right? Do you remember his clothing line that he had?
Whose clothing line did you say?
Jay Z, Sean John. I mean, not Sean.
No, you're talking about Rockaware.
Rockaway. What happened to it? It was real popular. It was extremely. It was doing extremely well. But what happened to it?
I can't hear you, Q. I hear you saying something. I can't
And
hear you.
what he was saying was what happened to Rockaware. It was extremely popular, but what happened to it?
We were and I only say that because you talk about practicing group economics, and that's what a lot everybody black at a certain within a certain age demographics. That's what they were doing. They were buying. You couldn't turn around without somebody wearing Rockaware. What happened to it though? Why is it that? Why
Rockaway was
is
sold
why?
because it generally black people don't understand the
No. Again, that's not true. Rockaware was
not
sold because Rockaware was sold because somebody came along and offered Jay Z a lot of money for the brand, the same way
not,
they did with
what
Fubu, the
but what
same
I
way
was
they
going
did, the same way they did with
but
Fubu.
Q, hear what I was gonna say. My point, what I was saying, black people generally did not do not understand the value of ownership. I don't think I was heard because somebody making noise. But what I was saying was black people generally don't understand the value of ownership. There will always be a white person that will overpay you to get your business because they understand the value of control and ownership.
Wait a minute. But wait a minute. You're talking about somebody who just became a billionaire in Jay Z. That's why I used him as the example. How can he not understand the value of ownership when he just became a billionaire? How did he become a billionaire? He became a billionaire by selling off his assets. Again, it goes back to the mindset. Let's look at Sean John. He had a clothing line. What happened to it?
Well, hold on. Before you go too far, what JC understands now is not the same as what he understood then.
Okay. So why not go back and say, hey, you know what? I'm a billionaire now. I know better. I'm going to relaunch Sean John. I'm going to relaunch Rockaware, new and improved.
I mean, he may, but I would assume him being the person he is, he would run something under a different name. He wouldn't use the same name again.
It doesn't matter, but why not? Because why not use the same name? Because it was very popular within our community. You have to use the same name because it's known. That's why Polo has been able to stay around for 60 plus years. That's why Levi Jeans has been able to stay around for fucking 110 years or so.
No,
That's why.
I understand that, but it was an issue with Rockaway was still. I believe that was something involved in other people that were also in ownership position in that. So I don't think you would use the same name because it'd be more of a legal issue. But outside of that, I don't think the man wouldn't start another new business. I'm pretty sure he's gonna start another new business anytime soon. Now he's just a different. He understands ownership now, and I've literally heard Jay Z say in interviews that he didn't understand the value of what he was doing back in the day, but he
Okay,
understands
hey,
it more
hey
now.
guys, hey guys, hey guys, hey guys, hey guys. Let's listen up. I'm gonna wrap it up in a little bit, but are we even still on topic?
Well, you know what? Well, all this really relates to when it comes to the pro blackness thing.
Yeah, I
At the end
know,
of the day,
but
without that, well, I'm saying to relate it back to the topic. When it comes to pro blackness, at the end of the day, dick policing is a must as long as you don't have black people dealing with group economics because the black woman womb has no more value than anyone else's womb at this particular time. And when it comes to the quote unquote nice guys, nice is just an excuse to avoid productive men because black women seek to control black men because they've been trained but through white supremacy that black men are beneath them. And that's just what it is. So, if you're a nice guy and you're productive, because that's really what they're talking about when they say nice, if you pay attention to who they're talking about, they're talking about productive people. And they don't want to get with a productive person because you cannot run a productive person
well,
because
you know
they're
what
not
though?
going to be run.
Well, the argument really is that
Okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Oh
Are
God.
you
Okay, go
speaking
ahead.
for black women?
No, what? No, I was about to be
No,
like,
no,
I was.
I'm saying what I've heard black women say. They spoke for themselves.
Oh, okay. I'm just confused because I've never heard that before.
I mean, but the complaint usually be is there is a lack of productive men in our community, though.
That's
I
bullshit.
have I have heard that complaint now, and saw that complaint being stated throughout social media, and it's not me just trying to say something. It's something that I've seen. It's like there's a lack of they say there's just basically a lack of productive men in our community. There's a bunch of narratives floating around that black men just aren't productive enough these days.
And
Yeah.
when you put that with also the fact that they say the reason they don't want to talk to the nice guy, quote unquote, is because the other guys are more confident, which
Let me
is
ask
a
you
bunch
this:
of BS.
you consider yourself a nice guy?
Oh, me? Sure. I'm a nice guy.
Oh well, there you go. Your definition is flawed.
No, my definition ain't flawed at all. It ain't
You
flawed at all.
$40 on the dresser.
No, I'm not.
I don't
You
think
don't
that he's
even
saying.
understand it. You don't
I don't think
understand
that
that
he's saying.
program.
I don't
But at
think he's
the end of the
saying.
day,
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
no, I'm saying if you pay attention to what black women say they don't want the nice guy because they rather have a guy with confidence. There is no correlation to being nice and confident versus not being nice and unconfident. There's no correlation there. They're talking about something that has no correlation. You can find a nice guy that's a bad person. I mean, you can find a nice guy that's a confident person, and you can find a bad guy that's a confident person. You can also find the opposite from the nice guy and the not so nice guy. So at the end of the day, they're just basically making a word salad. But all it equals is we're avoiding productive men. That's what it all equals to.
All right,
It
but
sounds
okay.
so asinine to me because who in their right mind, as an individual, male or female, would avoid a productive person? That sounds stupid to
It
me.
does, and
I'm not saying it's
It
smart.
does.
It
I
is
It
just
very
does.
I just wanted
ignorant.
to I just wanted
Who
to
in the
listen
hell
to that.
in their conscious, sane mind is saying, hey, I don't want the productive person because I can't control them? Are you out your mind?
Mm,
But
that's
it's
what I
not.
would say.
It doesn't sound
Exactly.
Name
intelligent, but it is
name one
happening.
person that name a female you're related
No,
to that thinks and talks
And
like that.
like that.
I come from a pretty good family. I don't think none of mine is dumb enough
Exactly.
to
So
say
you
that on
coming
purpose.
from a
Exactly.
position
No,
that
no, no,
no
no,
one
Exactly.
no,
should
no.
think on her.
My fam, no, no. My family does a lot of things, and as a group, we do not promote a lot of stuff that a lot of other families do. I found out I was come from a much different family as soon as I got into high school. I expected everybody had daddies when I was a kid because in my family, generally people got a daddy. So you can't say that because there are differences in my family versus a lot of stuff what I've seen as I've grown up in the world. And at the end of the day, when you got all these women on social media talking about what they man ain't doing, what they baby daddy ain't doing,
It's a lot of men talking
what
about
they're
what they
not getting.
women
No,
ain't
no,
doing.
hold on,
Exactly.
hold
It's
We
a
on.
lot
talking
of
about
No,
what
it's
women
a
are doing right
hold
now.
on. I'm making a statement about what we're
We
talking about.
talking about what women are doing right
No,
now.
no, listen
Hello,
what I'm saying.
goodbye.
No, no, hear what I'm saying. At the end of the day, when women are talking about what these men that they're dealing with aren't doing,
The
it
nice guy.
equals an unproductive man that they're complaining about. So
so
regardless of how they said it, they still ended up with an unproductive man.
Mm,
okay,
but
okay.
interesting.
So when a man say the same thing about a woman, when he blasted his woman on social media, believe me, I see this every day, dude. When
Okay,
he's blasting,
so what's your point by saying that though? What's the point you're making?
the point is the
I'm
same as
saying,
the point that you just made.
No, you're not making the point I'm making because the point I'm making is the women
okay,
who are quote unquote talking
okay,
about the nice guy or the guy that's not confident. They're making an excuse to not deal with a productive man. That's
And
what
what?
I'm saying.
Okay, so what's the
Are
excuse
you
then?
saying that men are making an excuse not to deal with a productive woman? Because
Yeah,
that's not
yes,
what you're talking about.
yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah. That's it.
Okay, so if
It
a
go
man
it go. It go
No,
both
no, no,
ways. It go
no, no.
both
I hear you.
ways.
No, no, hold on. I hear you. So if a man
He don't
makes an
want to talk about
excuse,
that.
no, no, no. If a man makes an excuse about not dealing with a productive woman, what are we gonna say about that man?
The same thing that a woman would say about a woman
Yep.
who makes the excuse about not dealing with a productive man. Just like
Okay,
she just
but
It's
what would
like
that be?
it's this.
that
But what would that be?
would you let me
But what would that be?
fucking finish? God damn, you hostile in
No,
your
I'm not
comment.
hostile. I'm asking a specific
Well,
question.
you
I'm
just
looking for that
well,
answer.
well, you're not gonna get the answer you want. It will be we would say he's a damn fool.
Exactly.
That
Exactly.
okay, it will be the same thing for women. Women will be like, "Girl, you crazy? That man work hard. That man take care of you, take care of his kids, believe in certain set of values and traditions. You a
Hmm.
goddamn fool if you walk off and leave that man." It's
Hmm.
done on both
Exactly.
sides. Okay,
I'm
so it's done on
I'm
both
not saying
sides.
it wasn't. I never said it wasn't.
But wait a minute though. But you want to push. See, this is what I don't do. I believe in being equal down the middle. I call out, quote unquote, the black female fuckery, and I will call out black male fuckery.
Man, fuckery. Exactly.
Right now, what we have is a group of motherfucking men on these platforms that have come up here and they will talk shit and bash and dog and diss the sisters, but without looking at what's going on with on our side of the whole scenario. You got a lot of niggas that just ain't shit. Period.
Exactly.
But these ain't shit niggas want the best and the brightest of our women.
If
And the
they
way
can
they
get them,
and the way
that's a women's thing.
and the way they do that is they use a lot of shaming language that I'm hearing being used on a daily basis.
So guys are
Exactly.
getting women with shaming language. Are you kidding me?
What you
Like
say?
how many guys you know have gotten a woman with shaming language? You know what?
I didn't say get 'em. I said what's happening is that's I'm hearing a lot of brothers, a lot of black men bash the black women and saying, well, black women are like this and they're like that and they're like the other, but they're not calling out the other side of it. What is it on the other
What is
side?
this whole Pookie and Ray Ray narrative about then?
The
What
whole
is that about?
the whole
I mean,
the whole
are we
the
not?
whole
So would you be more content if they said if everybody said black men this and black men that?
no,
Would that?
no, you're missing my point again. If you're gonna have the conversation, you have to have the conversation holistically and not the men are pointing at the women. I don't hear that many women pointing at the men.
Oh God! All right.
Well, this is what I'll say in regards to this. As a man, you can't speak for a woman. And if you attempt to speak from a woman's position, I have to question you as a man because that's not what men do. You can
Okay.
only speak from a man's position. You
Exactly.
don't know how a woman thinks or moves. You don't because we operate on
Exactly.
a different wavelength. Our energy is different. So, as a woman, the type of man I look for, you got to do a lot of things to me and for me to be like, And being productive ain't just the one thing. That's part of it, but it's deeper than that. It's some productive fucking maniacs out here working real
Exactly.
hard and killing bitches. What are you
Exactly.
Exactly.
talking about?
What
Exactly.
we're talking about is the topic. The topic is nice guy, good
I heard what
policing,
you
and
said.
pro blackness.
I heard what
The
you said.
statement I made was literally about that. And the
Was
statement I made was literally about what black women have said themselves. It's not me speaking for them. They've spoken for
I asked
themselves.
for an example. Can I get a name of one of these black women that have said this
Oh
dumbass
God!
shit?
All right. Well, I don't know because every time a black woman says something dumb as shit on social media, they always call it trolling and is immediately dismissed and laughed at. That that that's that's all I can chalk it up to because the general mentality of our people is don't sweat what the woman is saying, but treat the man like a fucking traitor. Like so, with the mentality that is going on with our people, I don't know what name I can bring up
I
that's on social
mean,
media because guess what? Y'all see it as when a black woman says some fucked up shit about about black men, it's what
You
all
know what?
is
I'm
the
gonna have
truth
we gonna do this
is
because
trolling.
I'm the type of person that I call out bullshit. I don't give a
I
fuck
mean,
who it
yeah,
is.
but that's you
And
on an
I did
individual.
I listen. I'd have been put out your group and blocked because I called a bitch to a carpet. Period. Point blank. For
Man,
her
who put
selfish
you out the
ass
group?
motherfucking way. I'm just telling you what happened. So it. I mean, them your admins. It is what it is. But I'm just telling you, I done called a bitch out for her selfish ass, dumbass ways, and got put out the motherfucking group and blocked because I was calling a bitch out for being retarded. I don't care who it is.
That don't mean you got put out for that reason though.
Oh no, I
You know,
absolutely got put out for that reason.
how did you speak to the admin that put you out and find out why you got
How
put
was
out?
I going to speak to them? I didn't know who they were.
Okay, well the whole point is if you
Was I going to
don't
go to the
know,
group and see who the admin were and then and message them?
you yes,
What?
people can
If I
address
was
I'm an
put
admin.
out
open
a
They've
door
done
group,
it before.
policy.
how would I have found out who the admin were?
I have an open door policy, and in every Facebook group that you are in, they have a section, the membership section.
I
You
mean,
hit that
that's
admin
neither here
tab.
nor there. But my point to you is, I
Okay,
call out bullshit across the board.
I
Period. This is
got you.
how
I
I
got you, and
operate
I bear
as an
witness to that.
individual.
And I bear witness to that. But there's plenty of us that don't, men and women. If you want to hear me say men and women, I'm gonna go say men and women. And there's plenty of us that don't call out bullshit, men and women.
Mm.
So there.
Well, my thing is at the end of the day, when you've heard women who there's plenty of videos on YouTube where women have talked about the nice guy versus the not so nice guy, and what do they usually say? I don't talk to them because I like a confident man. So basically, what they're trying to imply is that if you're nice, you're not confident, which is a
Yep.
bunch of BS. Point blank. Period. That's those
Well,
two things don't
that's
correlate with each other.
okay. Well, I hear you because now you got the loudest voice and you want to make sure you drive your point home. But I don't think that that's what's being said. We, like the sister told you, you can't speak for what a woman, how a woman looks or views something to
I just heard a
someone.
woman say that
Exactly.
today. I
You can
just heard
speak
one say
on
it
how they.
today.
Okay,
What it
that's
sounds like
that's
to me
that's
is
an
you're confused
that's an
about
No,
some
I'm
of
individual.
the
not confused at
women
anything.
that
I heard
you have
one say
Yeah.
it
dealt with
today. I've
and the
heard one
men that
say it
they have
today.
chose
Okay,
No, I'm
outside
so
not.
of yourself.
so
I am
men,
not confused about someone telling me what they did. And you can't
so
put
Explain
confusion on me because you
the
don't like the fact
observation.
that I heard it.
so would you date a big would you date
Hmm.
a big woman, fat
But
woman?
then what?
Would you
No,
date
We
would you
heard the
date
answer
a
to
big
this
woman?
He
before.
wouldn't date a
nope,
big woman.
Would you
He
date a
wouldn't date
big
a
woman,
woman
a
over
fat woman?
35. He
But you
wouldn't
know
date
what?
a
no.
woman that went without sex
No.
past 2 dates. And he
Why
wouldn't date
not?
a woman that acted funny about getting $40 after getting fucked. He
Why
wouldn't date
not?
all types of women.
Why not?
No.
Because I'm not interested in fat women.
There you go.
Okay, okay. Well,
Exactly.
it's the same principle. Maybe the nice guys don't do it for them, for that woman.
Exactly.
Maybe that ain't what
Maybe.
maybe that's not what
Maybe.
maybe
May.
that's wait a minute, hold on, brother. Maybe that's not what gets her wet.
Oh, here we go.
And you know
No,
what, Q?
ain't no
All that,
no
all that,
ain't no
Here we
all that.
go.
No. Hold on, because he making a legitimate statement. But the point is, we're going on what they said, and what based on what they said, they don't deal with nice guys because they're not confident, and the two things just don't correlate. Period.
Listen,
We're not going
this
off
Yes.
guy,
Yes.
speculation.
this guy went on a
Okay.
couple dates with. He was
Okay.
really nice. Well, he was just too nasty. I was like, ugh.
Nasty like what?
I don't know where he been.
Pee on. He like be peed on nasty. What
Too
that's he talking
nasty.
about?
Ugh. He was nice though.
But let's shift this nice guy conversation a little bit. When y'all decide these guys are too nice, and don't deny this shit right here because I see it all this time. And I see this all the time. Well, and this comes from like the general populace. Well, generally from both black men and black women. When that nice guy decides finally, hey, you know what? I'm tired of them. It's like it's like women are waiting on me to, I guess they want me to wait on them to come around and finally realize that I'm worth something. So then instead of that, they go to the first people that accept them. I guess as
It's
far
it's it's not just about that. It's about like she said, like who. I mean, come on. It's about who turned you on. It's I don't think it's about what you just said. I don't
you
think
know,
it's about that.
but oh, okay. So you're saying with these guys who had difficulty with their own people, if they gravitate toward another way, say for love or something, it was just about what they're attracted to. and is not wanting to deal with the people that have constantly insulted them for years and years. That's what you're telling me? That I'm just if like there's no spite that can happen if you were mistreated by a certain group of people toward that group of people, because because I put it to you like this. I'll put it to you like this. It's like after my friends observed everything I went through with black people, they would just assume that I would end up with a white woman, and it didn't happen. So it's like, but then it's like, to me, there was ignorance in that thought process to assume that I would end up with a white woman just because black people didn't take too well to me because I said completed sentences instead of hanging out in the street selling weed. I'd rather play Mortal Kombat, you know. But I didn't use that as my crutch and my excuse. I went after who I wanted, whether she was black or she was non-black. But at the same time, I knew what I wanted. I knew who I wanted to procreate with, and that was with a black woman. So, so basically, what I'm saying is like, although I was subjected to a bunch of ignorance in my upbringing, that I still ended up with who I wanted. There's just some guys out there that do not have that kind of, and I don't want to call it strength, or I'd rather call it something like tenacity and patience. They get, so there's some people that get tired quick and just say, "Hey, fuck it." The same thing has happened to women. There have been plenty of women out there that have said, "Oh man, black men ain't shit. I'm not gonna fool with black men. I don't think that black men are stable. I'm gonna get me somebody who is stable." And a lot of that time it'd be a non-black guy. Sometimes it's a white guy. It just happens. That's just the way it is.
But
So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like that doesn't exist, that people don't let their experiences shape the way they feel about certain races, in courtship with certain races. I'm not going to pretend like that doesn't happen with our people, the men or the women. So and what I feel like I'm seeing, like what I'm hearing from a couple of you guys, that there's a little bit of pretending going on.
well, see, my thing is at the end of the day, people be with who they want to be with. So if a dude treats you like trash and you with him, no matter how you make the story out, you don't like being treated nicely. You like being treated like trash. That's why you're there. And it's
Okay.
a lot of women who complain about how their men treat them. So therefore, they obviously don't like a nice guy. That's
Okay.
just a point blank period.
Hey, but what about the guys that we like to call what's that word, pussy whipped? You
I
you
mean,
you
it,
think you think that they might have some difficulties in seeing the truth about who they're with,
well, I mean, at the,
or there might be a weakness on their part.
it's a weakness on their part because at the end of the day, the guys we call pussy whip, they basically accept anything off a woman. So at the end of the day, they don't like nice treatment either because they so infatuated. Period. Whatever you accept, that's what you like, and people don't want to just come out and say that. And that's why, in my opinion, you can't really trip about somebody treating you like trash if you're sleeping with them. My thing is, you have no legitimate complaint about a person who treats you poorly if you continue to sleep with them on a regular basis. If someone treats you poorly in your opinion, you as a person have a right to address that other person to see if you can get that situation corrected or not. If the person refuses to correct that situation, you have the option to leave. If you don't leave, it's because you don't like being treated nicely. You like being treated poorly, therefore you're willing to stay for it. That's just how it goes.
So what you're saying is people gonna be with people who they want to be with regardless.
Exactly. They getting exactly what they wanted.
Mm,
I don't care what they say what they want. They're getting what they want because they're there and their actions is proving it.
mm. Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think I deserve a cookie for trying to stay in the race?
Well, again, if you don't have the group, you don't have the group economic
Because
base.
we like
A
we
black
had
woman's
we have
womb.
people, because we have people that feel like that some black people deserve a cookie just for ending up with a black person, and I'm one of those people that feel like, hey, you know what, I'm with my wife because I love her, and I'm not, and then I did prefer that she be black, but mostly because I love her. Now, if I had now if I had the mindset of that my younger self did, I probably would have said fuck it eventually and ended up with somebody else. But I'm glad eventually I did get what I wanted. You know.
Well, you know me, I promote that black people stay together and try to make stuff better for ourselves. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, can I argue that another woman has less value than a black woman? No, I can't because we don't have the group economic base. So therefore, I understand a black woman womb has no more valuable than a white woman's womb. It has zero extra value because we don't have an economic base. We're not trying to, as a group of people, provide our own needs. And until we get that type of mindset, it doesn't really make a difference who you have a baby by. So even though, in my personal opinion, I
So
would rather black folks get together,
you don't
but it's not.
advocate. So you don't advocate for interracial, but you saying it doesn't make a difference who you have a baby with. That's just
No, I don't. I don't advocate for interracial, but I'm saying from a true a true stance at this particular point, based on what we're actually doing as a people. No, it actually doesn't matter, and it's not going to matter unless we care about establishing that economic base. Because unless we're trying to keep something going for black people, what difference does it make what color your child is?
race preservation.
I'm saying race preservation on its own ain't gonna motivate people to have a black child. There's gotta be something, there's gotta be a benefit. So when
The
black people
benefit
say,
is race preservation. That's what the benefit is. The benefit is that our people continue.
yeah, but what I'm saying is that's a nice thing, but people ain't gonna read it that way. We live in society where people want a benefit that they can see. And a benefit that you can see is financial help. If you want to be able to leave your child something, you know what I'm saying? And then that child meets with another person who has something, that means we as people have to start giving our children something they have to be able to inherit like other folks do. You don't have that economic base. What's the value of a black baby? You know what I'm saying? Koreatown, Koreatown
The
values a
value of
Korean
a
baby.
black baby, the value of a black baby is a chance to get it right. That's what the value of a black baby is a chance to get it right.
No, no,
You
I mean
know,
I understand what you're saying, and I can agree with that aspect. But I'm saying generally the public, how people are going to see, they ain't thinking about trying to preserve the race or anything like that. They're
well, you
looking at
So are we
tangible stuff.
looking at are we talking about black people looking at it that way or people in general looking at it
No,
that
no,
way? Because I
I'm
think it
talking
only
about
matters. Yes.
I'm talking about
I
black
wish
people in general.
you know what I wish. I wish that we would when we have these conversations. I wish without you knowing the whole group of black people, I wish that we would stop doing that. I wish we would stop projecting and start speaking from your own personal point of view of how you feel. Because you can't say, well, I don't think that well, having a black child, it doesn't matter who you have a kid with, or blah blah blah, because you don't know how everybody else feel. Talk about it from your perspective, because to do that is asinine. I can't sit here and say, well, I don't know why certain women are not choosing me. All I can talk about is from the aspect of why I'm not choosing certain women. I can't
Well,
speak for the women that are not choosing me. I wish that
well, at
we
the
as black people would
well, at
And
stop
the
that's
end of the
fucking
day,
but that's
doing
not
that.
what I'm speaking about. But I'm not speaking about that because I'm the guy that never had the problem with the women.
I use that as an example, but what you're doing right now, you're saying, repeat your statement you just said a moment ago about the value of
I,
having a black child.
no, what I'm saying, I said two things, generally and personally. I said me personally, I understand why we should have black babies, but from a general standpoint, there's no value of the black baby without the
You can't,
economic base.
then that's my point. You can't speak to that generally speaking because you don't know how other people feel. There are people that are having babies without economic backing. There are people that are having black babies together, being poor. So you can't
There
speak
are
to the
white
reasoning.
people that have little black babies
You can't
and they
speak to
putting
the
them in dresses.
exactly. You can't speak
The
to the
hell?
reason why other people how other
Madonna
people
got
feel.
how many black babies?
You have to speak to it from your own personal point of
There's no
view.
point
They
of
buying these
view
black babies like
No, no.
brownies.
What,
on
What's
what
up?
information
Thank you.
allow
Thank you.
information allows you to make decisions
Sandra
about what
Bullock got
people
a
have
black
done or
baby.
have not done. And
Angelina
at the
Jolie
end of the
got a
day,
black baby.
the reason you're going to have a continual increase of black people trying to deal with folks outside the race is because we have, as a group, we do not stress the importance of having a black child.
But
And the
that's
only
not
way,
true. That's not true. That's not true. People pick people of other races for a myriad of reasons.
no, I understand they do, but at the
But
end of the day, if a black child was more valuable, they would do it less.
that's not true. Again, that's not true. You can't speak for somebody who falls in love with a white man or a white woman or a Latin man or a Latin woman. You can't speak to that. That's all I'm telling you.
And what I'm telling you is, if a person values a black baby, regardless of all of that, they're going to make that effort to have that black baby.
but you don't know the situation and
Oh,
what goes on in
I don't
people's
know it individually. No, I don't know them individually. But when it comes to black
exactly.
folks, but when it comes to black folks and group economics, I do know what we're doing.
And what
How
are we
do
doing? We're
what?
not
Yeah.
having black babies? Is that what you're
No, no.
implying?
What we're
Because
doing
we
is
don't see the value
what
in
we're
them?
doing. What we're doing is we do not have the economic basis like other communities, so we operate like we don't have one.
So that's why white
But
people are going outside of their race as well, right? That's
White
why.
people,
Wait a
white
minute.
people can't.
That's why Latin people are going outside of their race
That's
as well, right?
that's
Because
right.
they don't. Because Latin women and Latin men, Puerto Rican women and Puerto Rican men are marrying interracially into the black diaspora, so they don't value having Puerto Rican children. That's why they marry blacks and whites. That's what you're saying?
There are some that do not value as
No,
much
no,
as
no, no,
the
no, no,
rest.
no, no, no,
No,
no,
yeah,
no, no, no,
I
no.
am saying that. I
That
am saying that
no,
because at
no,
the end of
no.
the no, no. Listen, I'm gonna tell you exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying there are going to be people in their groups that do not value it like others. But at the end of the day, no group is going to give up their economic base. Period. And if they got to have a certain number of children, percentage wise, to keep their economic base, they are going to do it. Period. Yes, you're always gonna have
Then
someone that will go outside, but they're never going to give up their economic base.
okay, okay. Let me give you a little bit of a little insight on what's happening across around the world, not just here
111.
in America. It's still prevalent within the black community that yeah, we talk about interracial marriages. Other races of people are not talking about it as much. They're not because by the year 2050 they've already shown, and there's a website you could go to. They've already shown that most people in America, especially, and around the world, are going to be of mixed heritage. That's what the New World Order is all about. They're looking for the one specific race. These, if you, they've been showing it to you for the past 10 years. When they show you these people that you see on TV, and you can't figure out if they're black or white or they're from some other ethnic group, but they're in American commercials. They've been showing it to you for years.
I understand
So
all that.
People,
And when
people,
people get in trouble, they
people,
go to their own.
people do not have. But see, if we're all mixed up, what's our own now? And people are not having children right now because the United States is not economically blustering as it did in the 90s. In the 90s, you had people having more children because there were more jobs, more opportunities, more money available for people to do such. When the economy is low, you're not going to have a high birth rate. When the economy does well overall, not just group economics, the economy overall in the nation. When the economy is doing well, everybody is having children because you can afford to do so.
I understand all of that. Yet it doesn't have anything to do with me saying ain't nobody about to give up their economic base. They just ain't gonna do it.
Man, I don't understand how you where you getting your data from, and I don't understand what your belief system is. But I wholeheartedly disagree, and this is why I say speak on from a general standpoint of view, and there are others that you can't because you don't know everybody's thought process. There is no statistical data out there that's saying that people don't value having black babies. That's why they marry outside of the race. There's
Look,
none.
what I told you was if we value black babies more, we would do it less. And at the end of the
That's
day,
your own
what I
personal.
also
That's your own personal.
That's
That's
no,
your
your
own.
there
That's your own.
there is something called cause and effect. Period. Regardless
That
of how you
yep.
feel about it, there's
That's
cause
your
and
own.
effect.
That's your
And
own. That's
and
your own personal
own
belief.
no,
personal.
That's your
and
own
Thank
personal
you.
belief. That's your own
and
personal
Personal
belief.
and
belief.
okay, and it's already proven because when you look at any other group of people here, any other group, at the end of the day, no matter who goes outside, no one gives up their economic base because people understand what their power is as individuals, but they also understand their power in the collective. And no other group is going to give up their power as a collective. That's just what it is. So yes, you can
What do you
have.
mean? What do you mean? Give up your power? What do you mean when you say give up your
Mm.
power?
You know
Give
what?
up your
You know
power
what?
in what way?
Pe- people have power over their life, and the more you have a community, the more power that community has. That's why you have Chinatowns established. That's why you have little Koreas established. That's why you have even little German towns established. People work together to make sure they're good as a whole. Period. And people ain't about to stop doing that.
Yeah, you're right. But you got to understand, and I get what you're saying about the economic backing and the economic baseline. I get what you're saying exactly. Do you know how little Chinatown was, how it came about? Let's talk about how where did little Chinatown come from? How many Chinatowns are there across the nation? I'm just going to ask you a general question. How many Chinatowns do we have across the United States of America?
I don't know. I know there's a lot of
How?
them though.
Okay, well, no, no, it ain't a lot of them. That's where you're wrong at.
No.
It ain't a lot of them. There is a Chinatown. There is a Chinatown in San Francisco, the main when you think of Chinatown, where the majority or all of the people that live in that community is of Chinese descent. There's one in fucking San Francisco. There is one in New York. There is one in, I want to say there's one in Philadelphia. Other than that, ain't no Chinatown and no little Chinatown in Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Iowa, or goddamn Indiana. None. So that's bullshit.
So there's Chinatowns
That's
everywhere. There's a
bullshit.
group of Chinese people.
The reason why you have Chinatowns that set up in those major metropolitan areas is because that's where they immigrated to, that migrated to when they came to America. That's where they migrated to. So because of what happened during the war, when they said we have to pay back, you know, the Chinese people for putting them in the fucking concentration camps, were sent to those areas, and the government those cities, but those cities. That's just like in New York when you cross the river, when you go across to Staten Island, you got Jewtown in Staten Island where that happened because of the goddamn Holocaust bullshit. There are not a lot of Jewtowns all over the goddamn United States of America. Stop with the bullshit. So for you to even sit there and say, well, people understand that that's how they keep their economic base is to stay together. Group economics work for the good of those who believe holistically in the group. That's why you have groups like the Klansmen. That's why they practice the separatism law. That's why they won't marry outside of their race. Two reasons. One is personal, one is religion. To sit here and make the
So
assumption that black people are not having or marrying out and do not have a value for black baby is asinine.
no, that's not
Because
what I said. I said people
because
would
me,
do it more if they valued the group we had the group economic base. It's just going to be valued more. What I'm saying is a
no,
black baby to the black community has
people
no
still
more
go
value than a
marry
mixed baby.
people.
No, 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 no. What I said was
People are
a black
still no, it
baby
doesn't.
has no
I
more
agree.
value than a mixed kid. No, there's zero more
I
value.
agree. I agree. That's not the argument. The argument is whether we had the second largest economic base in America as a group of people here in this country, or if we were dead last behind every other race of people in this country. It would not change the fact that people are going to marry out. People marry out based upon their marry out. I can
I
only
didn't
speak
say
on it
people
from my
weren't going to
personal
marry
point.
out. That's not the argument. That's not the argument at all. The whole purpose of what I said is that if you have the economic base,
And
people
I
are
just
going to
and
do stuff
I
according to that base.
and I just said, regardless of if we have the second or the first or the last economic base, where people are still going to procreate with whoever the fuck they want to procreate with. Period.
Yeah,
And for you to sit here and try to say it's because of economics is the reason why. That's what you're saying.
no.
Economic.
What I'm saying is no one's going to give up their economic base. So even if you have people marrying
It wouldn't
someone
matter. My
outside,
argument
no,
is
it is gonna matter because you'll never have a tipping
how.
scale where because if any group of people that has any however little the power you see it as on the scale, when they get to the point where they're going to start losing out on their power, they're going to make an adjustment to keep their power because that's what people do. People don't
But
give away power.
that's not, no, they don't. But that's not true. People simply include others into the power diaspora in which they are in. That's how that happens. Period. They don't give more. You heard the saying, the more the merrier. And don't look at a selfish point of view of. That's why these car companies in these companies, clothing companies, all companies. That's why there made that dumbass comment. And then he tried to come back and say, well, I didn't say that I didn't make clothes for black people when half of your goddamn models that you were using were black or Asian or Latin. See,
So he
people,
protected his power.
right? No, he fucked his power up. That's why
No,
it
no,
took me a fit.
he made a bad
No,
statement and
no, no,
then
no, 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 no,
made
no,
a
no, no,
different
no.
statement
He
trying to
did
protect it.
he did exactly what you said he was doing. He was practicing that whole group economic shit, trying to protect and value the fucking his whiteness and say that his clothes were not made for everyone. I understood what he said when he said it. He never said he didn't make his clothes for black people or for that his clothes were only made for white people. He said that he made his clothes were made for people that are involved in athletics. All of the golfers were wearing his shit, his attire. All of the people that were in yachting were wearing his bullshit. He never said my clothes were not made for black people. He didn't say that.
No, no, I get that, but at the end of the day, power is selling to everybody, not just your own. It's
So
using
now,
the
so
money
now,
for
so
for
now
your
you,
own is where the
so
power
now,
is.
so now you understand that that whole group economic shit and protecting your power, which that you're alluding to, does not factor into that equation.
No, it does factor in. That's the whole purpose of him coming out to say something different because he looked at if he was going to
He
get
didn't.
damaged by what he said, he wanted to do something to stop any damage from being done because he wants the money to keep coming.
He didn't change his statement though. He said exactly what he said the first time. He just clarified it. Period. That's all he did. He remade the same exact statement, and then he said, "Here's what I mean by that."
Okay, well, I mean, I get what you're saying, but if he made a second statement, he still was doing it because he felt it was necessary because his whole goal was for the money to keep coming in, and he was starting to get some issue because I remember it hitting the news. I ain't gonna say I remember everything because I was young at the time, wasn't really paying attention to it as much, but I do remember stuff about Tommy. You know what I'm saying, dude. Well, he made Tommy Hilfiger and the Ralph Lauren stuff. I remember him
Hmm.
saying something about it, but I remember a second statement being made that tells me he made a second statement because he felt it was necessary because he didn't want to damage his brand. He want the money to keep coming.
Of course, he's no, he simply clarified what he said. See, let's go back to the whole meat of the conversation. What is the title of the show? Let's look at it and break it down.
Nice guys, dick policing, and the pro-blackness of it all.
Okay. And when we talk about nice guys, dick policing, and pro blackness, here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing people with these pro black agendas sit here and they make some asinine ass statements because they obviously do not understand the true power of economics and how it works. As far as dick policing is concerned, everybody want to tell everybody else based on their own personal lives and their own personal opinions who, where, when, and how to use their dick. No, and as far as the nice guy part of the show is concerned, everybody has a different understanding of what a nice guy is. That's why it's asinine to sit here once again and try to generalize everything. What you view as a nice guy will be different to what I view as a nice guy. Will be different to how a woman views a nice guy, what a nice guy is. That's the asinine part of the conversation. A nice guy, oh, he speaks in a certain tone. He treats people in a certain way. He's forgiving. He's caring. That's not a nice guy to me. A nice guy to me is a motherfucker who stands his ground, doesn't take any shit from anybody, and does it in a pleasant way. I don't have to curse somebody out or be acting a fucking fool all the time. I could do all of that and still be a nice guy. Still be willing to give you the shirt off of my back. I could call you bitch made motherfucker, hoes, you punk pussy bitch, and still be like, you know what, bro? Here you go. You need some money for this. You need some help with that. You need here, take my shirt. It's all the perception of what not everybody got with these conversations are fucked up. It's all perception. This is why I said it earlier. You cannot speak to these topics in a generalized fashion. In order to do so, you would have to know the whole, not just the sum of a group of people.
Okay, and I think that is absolutely wrong. You don't have to know what every single person thinks to come up with a general statement based on information. And at the end of the day, when women, because that's what we talking about with the dick policing, and then you have the men who support the dick policing when it comes to that that black community standpoint, where they want to make sure that everybody, whether they're nice or not, is with a black woman. What are they talking about? They're talking about they don't want resources going to other women.
Who
That's why
who
they want them
who
with the black person.
who digs police more than motherfucking more than women do? Other black men. They'll sit up here and
No, I
ridicule.
said there's black men that do it too. I just said that.
Hold on.
But at the end of the day, was it based on? Why are they dick policing in the first place?
Because motherfuckers ain't got nothing else better to do with their time, and they want to tell everybody else what they should be doing instead of worrying about their own lane. It makes for good conversation, but you have to be intellectually honest when you have these conversations.
I understand that, and that's true for a lot of folks. But also, when it comes to dick policing, the whole point is they don't want to see resources that a black man got go to another group of people. So the point, you know what I'm saying? That's why people had that issue with Robert Smith because he's a billionaire, but now he's married to some woman that ain't black. They concerned with his resources going to another group of people. And that's just what it is. People dig police due to resources, and because you don't have that economic base, people have to be concerned about black men who gain resources and their resources going to another community,
No,
which
they
means we
don't.
stay where we at.
I do
No,
hear that. I do hear that quite often though.
listen.
I do hear that. Like his money ain't going to the black community since he marrying out. I can verify that.
Okay, I've heard that too, but again, that sounds asinine for you to make that general fucking statement and not you don't know how that man has his money set up. Motherfuckers don't even know that he was married to a black woman first and that he has black children. So motherfuckers don't even know how that man got his money set up. And anyway, whose fucking business of it is it where his money goes after he dies?
Q, I get what you're saying, but at the end of the day,
See,
they're dick policing for a reason.
this is why I hate this is why these African Bambata go back to Africa pro black ass niggas gets on my nerves. They really do. They get on my nerves by sitting here trying to worry about what everybody else is fucking doing. Stay in your own lane. Worry about what the fuck you worry about. It makes for good conversation. But do we know how that man has his money set up after he dies? Do we know that his first wife, and she's, from what I understand, he made sure his first wife, who's a sister girl, who's very prominent in her own right, is taken care of. All of his children are taken care of. There are trust funds. People that I know have done that have said that exact statement about him being married to a white woman. Oh, his money when he died. Who the fuck business of it is it of anybody? These pro black niggas get on my fucking nerves with this shit.
But they feel entitled to money. And that's just what it is. They feel entitled that any black person who makes the money should be put it back into the black community. And my thing is, I don't have no problem with with that type of thinking, except for the entitlement part. You can't even start to begin to have any type of real entitlement unless you have that black economic base. That's
Well,
my position on it. So dick policing is stupid.
and that's what I'm telling you. And this is what I would. This is also what I would tell you. I would tell you that for someone to sit here and try to put that man in a general box when they themselves are not practicing group economics holistically. You show me one motherfucker that's practicing group economics, and I will show you a goddamn lie. Tell me one.
I mean, well, somebody that's practicing group economics.
Mm-hmm. Tell me one.
I mean, there's people that do it,
Tell
but you can't.
tell me one.
I mean, I do it myself. I look for
Okay,
businesses owned by black people just to.
okay. But you're not. I said holistically, meaning in its
Oh,
entire
holistically,
form. Yes.
I don't even know if that's even possible right
No,
now.
it's not possible because you can't. You know why? You got a mortgage. You're paying some white bank, some white mortgage company, some white deed holders, some the white people that hold the taxes on your land. You're paying that to the government, right?
Right? Yeah.
Which is a white government. You pay light, water, gas, electric, cell phone bill that are these companies are not owned holistically by black people, so it's impossible for someone to practice group economics holistically. That's why that whole statement is a fuckery ass statement to me. Just because you go out and you find 4 or 5 companies that are ran by black people, and even they themselves cannot practice group economics because you have to deal with someone else across the aisle outside of black people in order to make things happen here in America. Period. Point blank.
I mean, you
Somebody,
do, but I
somebody,
think we should make
somebody,
an
somebody,
emphasis.
some no, 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 no. It's futile because somebody was talking about some young black man who started selling. He got his hair company all of a sudden now. Where's he getting the hair from? Well, he's an independent, and this black woman was trying to explain it. I buy from him because he's a black man. He got his own black business, his own black hair company. Okay, so he got to get the hair from somewhere. Where is he getting it from? He's getting it from non-black people. He's using a non-black channel to get it, and he's only making himself richer by providing a product. Once again, when you talk economics, you have to understand how it works.
I mean, I agree with that part. You know what I'm saying? Because like I
The
said, I don't
only
even
way,
think it's
the only
possible to
way.
do it
Okay,
holistically,
okay.
but we can make an effort to get closer. You know what I'm saying? Like I moved my money to a black owned bank.
So the
You
only
know,
don't, but it's just because it's black, just because the building is black owned, that doesn't mean that it's
no,
a
no,
black
the
owned
bank
bank.
is black owned. The bank is black owned. But you know what I'm saying?
Okay,
But that's
so you
me
saying
making
from the,
a
so you saying from the president, what bank is this?
well, I ain't trying to throw business out there, but if people look, well, no, matter of fact, I say it because I looked online. It's a bank called Liberty, and what I found about it online is it's supposed to be what the biggest black-owned bank that's still left here in America. Because I
Okay,
looked at it and it said something about 23 black-owned banks, and it happened to be the biggest one.
okay.
But I'm saying
Wait
I
a
don't
minute,
price it holistically.
wait a minute. I will break down the whole black owned bank to you, right? All right. Individual banks went away. They went away in the 30s. So just because it's a black person's name on a building, just because it is a black president and a black CEO, CFO, and all of these people who run the bank are black, and they got the managers of the funding and all of this shit. They still have to be FDIC insured, right? That is a
Yeah.
conglomerate. These are conglomerates. So don't be fooled when you say, "Well, I bank black." Same thing happened in Atlanta. I learned this shit in the 90s because I was all about it. I went to Atlanta and I was like, oh shit, they got everybody to bank black. It's a black man's name on the building. I'm putting my money in the black bank. That, no, no, because they don't exist.
No, I mean, Q, I feel what you're saying, but my thing is, people are gonna get cuts. There's always gonna be a cut. But if you don't put yourself in position for black people to share in getting a cut, because like you said, if you selling hair, the man still got to get the hair from somewhere. If you own a clothing company, you still got to buy your materials from somewhere. I get all that, but at
So,
the end of the day, if we try to help each other, that still puts us in better position.
and I won't disagree with that. I won't disagree with that at all. What I will disagree with is the whole ideology of buying black and all of this great shit, because it's impossible. If you're not doing it holistically, why do it? If the only way you can say I'm buying a black product is if I manufacture it, I make it, I put it on the market, and I sell it. That's the only way. I would have to cut the trees down. I would have to grow the tree, cut the tree, cut the wood, build the house, and then sell it myself to you in order for you to be dealing holistically with a black person. If it's diamond or jewelry, I would have to mine the diamond, dig the diamonds out of the ground, cut the diamond, shape the diamond, shine the diamond, and then sell it to you. That's holistically being and buying black. Y'all,
No,
we got it wrong. This group economic shit, we got it wrong. Period. We have it wrong. We have it wrong. Period.
well, I mean, I feel what you're saying. When it comes, you know what I'm saying. Them businesses, you're not 100% of profit is not gonna be made by black people because they're not taking the raw materials and making the product from scratch and selling it.
People are buying Air Jordan shoes because of Michael Jordan, right? People thought, and I was around. I bought the one, the very first, the matter of fact, the very first fat pair of Air Jordans that was put on the market, the red and black with the little basketball with the wings on the side of them, that didn't even have the Nike sign on them, didn't even have the number 23 on it. I think it did. It had it in the basketball, right? All right. The reason why black people were buying that shoe is because we thought it was a black shoe. It really didn't have little to nothing to do, and they liked the design of the shoe, and it was a black man shoe. So that's what made Jordan very popular. Then come to find out, here it is 25, 30 years later, Michael Jordan doesn't even own 50% of Air Jordan. He only owns a mere 27.5% of the brand. And his name is on the shoe.
Okay, I understand
I'll
that
wait.
because Air Jordan is just a subsidiary of Nike. I do understand that, but my thing is, at the end of the day, even if you're just talking about an endorsed product, they're still helping black people make a profit. And if black people make an effort to help other black people make a profit, whether it's on something endorsed, whether it's something resold, whether it's something that service that they're providing, whatever the case is, it's still going to help blacks as a whole. So my point is, we still have to do it anyway if we want to be in better position. I'm
Yeah,
not saying we're going to take
again,
over 100%, but
again, I'm not disagreeing with you there. I'm not. I'm telling you that it is a top-down process. Jay Z made the money that he made by having whom support him. Black folks wasn't supporting him holistically. White folks is the dominant number in this country. More white folks buy his music than more black folks. That's a fact. So,
Okay.
so when we look inside of our group, we can say yes, the majority of us do support and buy his music, but more white folks support and buy his music than even we do.
Okay, guys. Uh, I'm about to wrap this up. I'm getting tired now, and but I
Does
do
that
want
mean
to
that the
thank.
call have to end because you end the show?
Say what?
That doesn't mean that the hangout has to end, does it? Because you
No,
end
no,
the
no.
show.
That doesn't mean
no, no,
that.
no, no.
Okay.
No, y'all can continue this discussion. I'm just gonna go off the air. I'm
Okay.
just,
Absolutely.
I'm tired. I got to work in the morning. But um, uh, Bianca, Raphael, any final thoughts? Oh, they probably sleep. Yeah, but
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I do appreciate everybody stopping by. I thought I saw Danielle George for a second. Yeah, she's a reigning woman, but they didn't get their chance to really say anything. But I do appreciate them for stopping by. Rain stopped by, Dunny Casanova stopped by, so also thanking them as well. Man, anyway, this is it for the show. The topic was nice guys, dick policing, and the pro blackness of it all. At the end of the day, I think the whole point is that we need to improve ourselves as individuals and help each other out. Maybe we should reconsider how we value our outlook on our own community as far as the financial aspect is concerned. And at the end of the day, does it really matter? What matters more? What a person is doing for the community or who they're dating? This. I'll just leave y'all with this question, and I will see y'all the next time around. Goodbye. On behalf of the Habitual Line Steppers, the Roger Report, you ain't shit for watching, and myself, and the other panelists as well. Thank you once again for joining us. In Kev, we trust. Good night. Good night. Good night.